Hello and welcome to Build Up to a Good Game. It's Fulham versus West Ham United at Craven Cottage. Kick-off an hour and 5 minutes away. The official lineup out in 5 minutes. Obviously, should be a fun one to read out and get the reaction of everyone. Gonzo, how are you?
I'm all right, thanks, mate. Yeah, I'm all right. I saw you chuckling away when you were typing up the team lineup. If you're tuning in for the first time, Geo knows the team lineup. I don't know the team lineup. Wait 5 minutes. He's going to reveal it to you, reveal it to me. And he's had a wry smile and a twinkle in his eye.
It's got to the point, normally, right? Normally when I'm typing it up, I can just say nothing to Gonzo and I'm just deadpan, right? I'm done. He doesn't know anything. The last couple of games, it's got to the point I can no longer keep a poker face. I'm like... Well, the last one I was just annoyed at for the Newcastle one. It's no longer annoyance for the... Anyway, you'll find out in a couple of minutes, Gonzo. Are you feeling confident for this one? Are you looking forward to it? How are you feeling?
Yeah, both, actually. Both. I am looking forward to it. Really wasn't looking forward to Southampton or Newcastle. I am looking forward to this one, actually. I don't know if it's because the sun's shining. I don't know. Might be something like that. I think I've sort of had enough of West Ham ruining my weekend. I'm not going to let them do that for this one. And I do think we can win. I think it's not beyond the realms of possibility that we win this game.
Would you like a little tease?
Oh, always.
There's 5 changes.
Wow. Oh.
If it's correct, if the lineup is correct, which again it has been every single week, so no reason for it not to be. There's 5 changes from the team that started against Newcastle on Wednesday night. With that in mind, is there any 5 people in particular, ideally in order, that you would like to see come into the team?
I would like to see Flint, ideally in order. Okay, yeah, I don't know if I can do an order, so scattergun, Brain. I'd like to see... I'd like to have seen Ogbonna come in. I'd like to have seen Flynn Downs come in. Certainly like to see Cornet come in. If Lanzini could come in as well, that would be brilliant.
What about the keeper?
Yeah, the keeper as well. So that's 4, yeah.
That's 5.
Have I said 5?
Yeah, Downs, Cornet, Lanzini, Ogbonna and Areola.
I'm glad someone could count.
There's 5 changes.
I wonder what was wrong with me. 4-4-4 formation, to be fair.
Yeah, 5 changes. There's also formation change as well, but we'll get the official confirmation. It's a bit different for me because of the team, but Cornet would have been the top of my list just because I think we're really lacking, and I think what he brings is different to what Bowen brings. It's different to what Ben Rama brings. Nobody else can bring to the team what Cornet brings, and that's what's good. That's what's good about having a squad where you've got a variety of players with different skill sets and different techniques and stuff. And it's about picking the right one for the right job for that match. And I think Cornet would really fit into this one because Fulham are going to be a difficult team to break down. But at the same time, we are going to get bits of possession. We are going to enjoy some good spells against them. They're not as hard to break down as Newcastle. They're not as difficult to defend against as Newcastle. So there will be opportunities. And I just think that we're missing a little bit of the X factor at the minute. Nobody's really got that in the locker. We don't have a Marko Natovic. We don't have a Dimitri Payet. Where actually, even though you could play crap for 85 minutes, but that guy turns up for a couple, you can then win the game. We don't really have someone like that just now. Ben Rama could be that player now and again. Bowen could be that player now and again, but they haven't been recently. And I just think Cornet's, well, I saw it for Burnley last season, games where Cornet was a difference. So we know he's got that in his locker as well. So I feel like he should get an opportunity. We will wait and see, however. Anyway, a little bit of admin before we crack on with things. If you fancy joining our Patreon, head to patreon.com/Hamish Chat. It supports the channel. If you're thinking, I just enjoy the YouTube videos, Gonzo does one a day, Gio does one a day, sometimes you both do one. I just quite enjoy that. I've got my bit, thank you. Well, that's because of Patreon. If you took Patreon away, you wouldn't get those videos on YouTube every single day. You can go to patreon.com/Hamish Chat. Links in the description. You get more content. You get a discount at our online store, entry into all the giveaways, etc., etc. I'll be catching up with Anton next week. I was hoping to do it this week, but he was at a wedding. He was at a wedding at the end of the week.
And he's been on Sky Sports all the time as well.
Yeah, but he's buzzing about the under-18s. So I'm looking forward to catching up with him next week and getting his thoughts on. Well, we know he's not a big fan of David Moyes, regardless of the results. But since we last spoke to him, Newcastle have whooped us, and we're away to play Fulham this afternoon. Anyway, Gonzo. That is 2:00, which means, sorry, my friend Steph's away to the game today, and she just messaged saying, shocking lineup, I want to turn back. I'm not even kidding. She just said, I want to go home.
Oh no!
She wants to go home already. Anyway, would you like to know the West Ham team?
Yes, please.
Well, you're not getting it because West Ham haven't tweeted out yet. Come on, West Ham, hurry up! They're busy putting out boat memes this rather than the actual lineup.
Yeah, well, you got to get your priorities right, mate.
Well, the lineup will be out in a second, but before we do, thank you, Alan, for the £5 super chat. He says Downs has to be next to Paqueta. Now he's wondering how Moyes misunderstood so badly. Rice is in for a long afternoon. Happy Easter, fellas. And then we've got Callum says, let's hope the late night tonight is worth it. So people down under in Australia is obviously in for late. What's he doing? Why is the team not out on the West Ham thing?
Where are you checking? Are you on like West Ham's official thing?
Yeah, I'm on their Twitter account. Usually they have a graphic up bang on 2 o'clock. It doesn't appear to be there.
I do. Maybe they've been trolled so much they thought they won't bother anymore.
Yeah, the graphic guy's been sacked.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's
they're all crowded around the computer going, so does anyone know how you edit this thing?
Yeah, I'm gone. I'm gone. The old canoe meme. It's gone too far.
Do you know what? I'm switching to OneFootball. Bugger it. OneFootball don't sponsor us anymore, but I'm switching over there because I know the lineup's there.
So if they do sponsor us in the future and we say OneFootball's good, we mean it.
This is the West Ham lineup. It's a 4-4-2 for the Hammers this afternoon. In goal is Lucas Fabianski with the back four. Vladimir Sufal, Kurt Zuma, Angelo Ogbonna, and Aaron Creswell comes back into the side. Declan Rice partners Thomas Soucek in midfield with Jared Bowen and Pablo Fornals on the wings, with Mikel Antonio and Danny Ings up front.
What is
just one thing I want to say now before we'll do the bench in a couple of minutes. One thing I will say: Lucas Paqueta is injured. That he's unavailable for today. He picked up a knock against Newcastle, so he misses out completely. However, Flynn Downs, Manuel Lanzini, they're both on the bench. So there was options for centre midfield, but he's gone with Thomas Soucek and there with Declan Rice. But that's your West Ham team for this afternoon, Gonzo. 4-4-2, 5 changes from the defeat against Newcastle.
He just can't manage it, can he? He cannot drop his favourites. He cannot do it, irrespective of performance. It's crazy.
He's gone back to his favourites. That's what he's done. Fabianski, Sufal, Ogbonna, Creswell, Fornals, Rice, Soucek, Bowen, Antonio. Only really Ings and Zuma. Actually, Zuma is one of his favourites. Only Ings is really someone you wouldn't class as one of David Moyes'.
Yeah. I mean, no wonder he can't progress the team. No wonder he can't incorporate signings. This is. I mean, I like the formation. I still think there's a possibility we'll win actually, and maybe this is it. But if there was ever, and I really hope he does. But if there's ever any evidence that this is not the man to carry us forward, it's this. This is what you're getting after £200 million spent. That's it, and. Yes, it's crazy. I would struggle. I don't know. I can't speak. Well, I can only assume to speak for them. I don't know. Penny for Areola and Flynn Downs' thoughts actually today. I think it must be hard turning up for work today. Must be. Why bother? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what I do. Doesn't matter what the people in the place do. All that mantra about playing with the shirt and keeping the shirt and all the rest of it, and everyone getting an equal opportunity and all the rest of it. It's absolute nonsense, isn't it? I like the 2 up front. No, that's good. That's something. That's as best he could do. Why? Well, he's battling it down. Fornals on the wing. Poor old Fornals. Feel sorry for him. Really do. Never given a real chance. Be interesting to see. But you know what? They do have a little relationship there, him and Cresswell. I don't feel Emerson's done too much wrong, apart from a little bit of headless chicken at the end of the game. But at least he was putting it in there when a lot of them were given up in that game. And the Ogbonna one, I agree with. I don't disagree with that. I think that's the right move. Would have done that one myself. And Sufal coming back, I think that was the right one. But yeah, you're absolutely right. He has just reverted to type here, hasn't he?
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the live chat saying, are we playing 3 at the back? Is it 4-3-3? I believe it's 4-4-2. It may not be, but whilst that lineup, it was like, that's the 11 Geo, it's 4-4-2 Geo. So the 11 was right, which would imply, I find it difficult to believe the formation is wrong, however. But it could be a different variation. Also, we know Moyes doesn't mind a bit of a hybrid as well. So in possession, it could be a 4-4-2, whereas out of possession, you could very well see, I don't know, Antonio going out on the left and Fornals tucking in and making it 4-5-1 or something. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But I believe it's a 4-4-2. I feel like we're in 2020, Gonzo. It's crazy. I feel like I'm watching West Ham in lockdown, and we've spent 200 million on this team, and we're playing the team that we played in lockdown pretty much.
And by the way, they were slow then. They won't have got any quicker. That's very hard to get behind the fence. That being said, I thought I was pleased to see Antonio did look fit and did look fast in the previous game, but. I mean, it is a ponderous group of players. Could very easily get outmaneuvered in midfield, actually, and not because of numbers. You know, I don't mind him playing the two, but you know, Souček is a passenger recently, so it's going to be tough. I do struggle. I know what you're saying, 4-4-2. I struggle to believe Moyes can truly play two up front, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was a slightly different formation.
I think we're pretty much bypassing the midfield here. I think we're here to play long ball football today. I think with two up front, it allows that. Taking a Gerd out of defence, the one centre back. I mean, I know we made a mistake against Newcastle, but let's deal with it. Let's be honest here. This is my opinion. Gerd is really comfortable in possession. He's really good playing out from the back. We've taken him out of the team and put a Bonnet in there. And if you are going to go direct, you don't necessarily need a Gerd's passing ability, because all Bonnet and Zuma have to do is hit Antonio from 50 yards away. I've got a feeling we're turning up to play a little bit ugly today. Hence Souček in midfield next to Declan Rice. Don't worry about possession. His 9 passes doesn't matter. We're not going to use him. We're just going to go over the top of his head. That's my verdict anyway, that we're going to see us try and just grind out something out of this game and go long to Antonio and put him next to Danny Ings and hope that between the two of them they're able to do something. In Moyes' eyes, this is a safe team. In my eyes, this is a flipping risk. This is a big risk.
It's an old slow team. That's what it is. It's as simple as that. It's an old, slow team.
Let's take a look at the West Ham bench. Arguably, it's better than the team that's starting. On the bench for West Ham this afternoon, we've got Areola, as well as a Gerd, Ben Rama, Cornet, Downs. Ben Johnson's back into the side. He's in the bench. And Thilo Kehrer, along with Lanzini and Emerson, who is probably the one player that's scratching his head going, hang on a minute, what have I done to be... He plays 6 good games, has one iffy one, dropped straight away. And I just think, flipping hell, that's a bit harsh. I was never Emerson's biggest fan when we signed him, but I think he's been bloody good recently. And I think he's one player that could feel a little bit pissed off. But like you said, there'll be Areola and Downs just sat there. Cornet's probably sat there thinking, well, am I going to get a chance here? Emerson's thinking, hang on a minute. Gerd's also scratching his head, going, all right, I made an error, but what about the rest of them? How's Fabianski still in goal when he did his error as well? How come I'm punished? But interesting is how to describe it. Let's take a look at the Fulham starting 11 this afternoon. There's a few changes for them, actually. Leno continues in goal as always with a back four of Cedric at right back. We're tossing Adebayo, centre back with Tim Ream. Issa Diop is on the bench for Fulham this afternoon, with Robinson left back. While I'm reading this out, there is a poll in the live chat now asking for your thoughts on the West Ham 11. There's 4 options. Please select which one reflects your opinion closely. Continuing with the Fulham 11, it's on your screen as well. Polina will partner Reid at the base of midfield for Fulham, with Vinicius up front and an attacking trio of Andreas Pereira, Bobby Reid, and Willian.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. I'll take this one. I quite like that team from a West Ham perspective. Yeah, Tete dropped or I think it's just rotation. Actually, Tete's come out, Cedric's gone in. I think that makes him weaker. I think Cedric's crap. I think he's an awful footballer. There's someone to target with Fornals. Centre backs are fine. Robinson's good. Polina and Reid fine. No Mitrovic. Vinicius isn't nearly as impactful. Solomon's the one that worried me the most coming into this game. Pereira's had a good season, but I think Solomon's a really, really good player. To see him not start is giving me a bit of a boost. It's, he's Willian go out onto the left instead of the right for this one, so they've still got someone cutting in. Bobby Reid works hard. He's a limited footballer. If our team was correct, I would fancy our chances for this one, but I don't think it's the best Fulham team in the world.
No, no, probably not. I still think we can win this. I am, I am ultimately quite depressed about the team and the club as a whole, but I do think we can win this particular game. I really do, and so nothing's really changed. That it's just getting through to the bitter end of the season if we can. It ain't going to be fun. That being said, I mean, you'll ask me later. I'll tell you now. I'm still going to go for our 2-0 win today. I'm going for that actually. Yeah, I am. So I think you just do that, and particularly if we're not in any peril during the game, then I'll be happy enough to come to final whistle. But it is, as I say, ultimately, it shows he cannot do the job long term. He can't. He's had his go. He's had his try. He spent £200 million to try and revamp the team. That this is the biggest admission of failure of his spending that you're ever going to see, and he's admitted it himself, not by words but by actions. This is him saying, "I ain't got a clue what to do with the money." This is why he couldn't. That's what they said at Man United. He couldn't spend money, didn't know what to do. Didn't know it was. I'll go back and get Fellaini. He didn't know what to do.
Well, he couldn't deal with winners. He couldn't deal with winners at Man United. Players that had that mentality of we go out and win games, we win trophies, and Moyes would say he couldn't deal with the egos, but it's that arrogance that comes with Man United, which is we win every single game, thank you very much. And I think Moyes struggled with that. And I think arguably you could argue that's what he struggled with here. Paqueta's come in saying, I'm used to winning every game, thank you very much. This playing for a draw, I don't know what that's about. I'm used to trying to win. Skamaka's probably come in thinking, hang on a minute, I'm here to score goals, not to hover around the halfway line and press defenders. I'm here to stick in the back of the net, thank you very much. So there is that possibility as well. We'll do the Fulham bench, and we're going to get your thoughts in the live chat in just a minute. The Fulham bench this afternoon is Rodak is on there as a sub-goalkeeper, along with Tete, Duffy, Diop, Lukic, Wilson, Kearney, Solomon, and Daniel James. So no striker. They've got no striker on the bench. A few attacking midfielders and a few defenders, really. That's pretty much it in Lukic. But that's your Fulham bench. Myself and Gonzo are going to jump straight to the bet giveaway. What we do, if you're new around here, we've been all season, please do subscribe to Hammer's Chat. It's completely free. Click that red button and click the thumbs up whilst you're here as well. Helps the channel out. And if anyone searches for Fulham West Ham on YouTube right now, we will be the top result if you all give that thumbs up. Just give the video a bit of a like. Gonzo, what you fancying for the bet? I'm happy to put West Ham winning. You fancy that? I'm happy to put that in. It's good odds, so let's chuck that in there. Who are you fancying for a goal? We've got a few options today, really, haven't we?
Antonio, I think.
Okay, let's put Mikhail in. I think what we do for the fouls, I think we go Thomas Souček because we're playing sort of two in midfield. I think that exposes us even greater. I think Pereira in there. I think we're going to see Souček coming out a few fouls today. Is there anything else you fancy? I could do one more thing, possibly.
Who's
would you fancy Bowen or Pereira?
Actually, what about a Soufal card? Soufal card, maybe? Yeah, because Anthony Robinson's bombed down that wing. I wonder if he's hacking him down at some point.
Right, so you want Soufal card. Let's chuck that in. That'll do. I'm not going to say anything after your Gerd call the other week. I'm just going to accept whatever you say today. So these four things happen. One of you guys will win £225. Right, so fingers crossed we can win one. West Ham to win the match. Mikel Antonio to score a goal, Thomas Souček to commit 2 or more fouls, and Vladimir Soufal to get a booking. £225 to one of you lot. To enter in the live chat, please put the following phrase.
Tete dropped for tossing.
Tete dropped for tossing. There you go. Please get the spelling right. And I'll click on one that does spell it correctly, and then you're entered. And if
that's why I got dropped.
There you go. Thank you, Snazzy Azzy. Perfect spelling. The first one to enter, and the spelling is bang on. Everybody so far's spelling is bang on. Thank you very much. Gonzo, have you seen the teams? What are you thinking? I know it's terrible, isn't it? Do you know what? 5 changes. You're like, here we go. Reaction. This is what we want. Areola's coming in. We're gonna checks drop. We're going for it. We're going attacking. We're going to try and score 3 goals today. And then the lineup follows it, and you're a bit, oh, okay. Maybe not the 5 I would have liked. On one hand, I'm pleased he's done changes. On the other hand, I'm a bit like, not that changes.
I am already looking forward to next season, is what I'm thinking. I really am looking forward to next season.
In which league?
Irrespective. I honestly, I'd love it. New manager, new owners. Honestly, I've had enough. I've had enough. Honestly, they're stumbling towards the end, and I just sort of, I hope that this works for him. I really do. I hope what we get is Cresswell, because actually, even if this works, it's not the answer. They can't. Even if this works between now and the end of the season with his team, they can't even try and do this next season. It just can't happen because they're already significantly older than they were. So everyone's broken. It's, as I say, this is it. This is, if even if we win, I hope we do. This is no bad thing here. Because this is David Moyes admitting, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't incorporate these players. It's a week, particularly when you see Newcastle's new signings. See a Bruno playing like he did, Isak chipping the ball over. This whole narrative, this whole mantra that players can't settle in the Premier League from overseas, and all this stuff that he peddles out. It's nonsense. We know it's nonsense. He knows it's nonsense. And this, at least now, we've got some firm evidence where, you could just say, that's it. So I hope they get through it. I have no faith in Fornals being able to run, dribble past players with pace. So let's hope the things he can do work. Let's hope he can spring a really lovely early pass for Fornals. He worked really hard down that side. Let's hope that works. Let's just hope that Cresswell can put a crossover for Antonio to score. Let's hope it is 2 up front. Even if all this other stuff, which we're quite unhappy with, and Souček in the midfield, even if all that stuff is true, let's just still hope that it is 2 up front and Ings has got a bit of support, and that might be something. And even if nothing else, and it saves us this season, that he plays 2 up top for the rest of the season, and Ings between now and the end of the season scores another 5 goals, which is enough to get us 9 more points, then at least the signing of Ings has worked for this season. But we can throw it all out at the end of this year, and but there's no, I don't feel, I feel there's a line in the sand. I don't feel there's any way back from this past the end of this season.
Hammer Boy 08 says Fornals is there to protect Cresswell. Tom Bull says Moyes was just asked Antonio and Ings up front, and he's replied a version of that. So nice.
Hello, Tom. Not seen your ages, mate. There we go.
Nice. He's busy complaining about his energy bill on social media. That's why.
What, Tom?
Yeah, he had an energy bill of $1,500 for the quarter.
What?
Yeah, so he must be in a sauna or something. He must live in a sauna. But, I don't know. He's
to be fair, energy, it's worthwhile moaning about energy bills, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, so that doesn't, that's a thing. Where is it? Frank, I'm just going to call you Freak. There you go. Freak says that's a no to 2 up top. And Sebastian said, so it is 2 up top. This is the problem with Moyes. He is very cryptical. He never gives you a straight answer kind of thing. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a hybrid. In possession, it's 2 up front. Out of possession, I wouldn't be surprised if Antonio's dropping back somewhere, whether it's in the number 10 or out on the left, just to try and give us numbers and flood the midfield kind of thing. But I think in possession, it would be a 4-4-2. For myself, it's one of those that it's sort of like David Moyes is playing his trusted players, but the bonkers thing is you can no longer trust them. You can't trust Fabianski after Wednesday night. Souček has shown that he can't be trusted. It frustrates me. They could be trusted in 2020. It's moved on since then. I just think it's absolutely crazy that we're still playing I wouldn't be surprised. Last time we played Fulham, we had a very similar lineup. And in between then, they've got relegated and come back up. Honestly, the last time we played Fulham, we probably had a very similar starting 11 to what we're doing today. We've spent a load of money, and Fulham have gone down and come back up.
Yeah. My son was in primary school.
It's just crazy.
He's got a moustache now.
I might look it up in a second. Right, you guys in the live chat, time to get your thoughts in. It can be about the West Ham team, the Fulham team, any hopes or fears you have ahead of the game. Let's see what you're all thinking about the match. Lewis says, how can you play your trusted players when you haven't trusted them for half of the Premier League all this season?
Yeah. Fair enough, isn't it?
Evan says, if we're 2-0 down by half-time, don't expect Moyes to change anything. I mean, I wouldn't come out of half-time if I was him. At Craven Cottage, he's got to walk past the away fans.
Sorry. I mean, this is a really good one. Also, the significance of this is that there's no... If he plays this team and he loses today, there's no ambiguity there at all. He goes. He just... Even anyone can see that, mate. You know, that was your last desperate throw of the dice. You threw your tactics out the window. You threw your side. You know, I mean, there's no, he has to win. There's no way back if he doesn't.
Michael, I think it'll be. I've seen some people say Willian up against Creswell. I'll be surprised if it is. I think they'll have Willian on the left to do the cutting in, and I think they'll have Bobby Reid on the right up against Creswell. He's not the quickest player in the world. I wouldn't call him slow. He's a bit like Jared Bowen. He's neither fast nor slow, but he runs all day and he works incredibly hard. So it's pretty much like the athleticism of Jared Bowen with Bobby Reid on the right hand side.
Richard says, is injured, guys. Paqueta is injured.
Richard says, do you think Moyes is rotating the team to keep it fresh?
Well, he alluded to that. He spoke a lot about that in both press conferences, actually. So, but I think maybe a little bit of that is in his mind. I think he knows. We discussed this in the Patreon breakfast this morning, Geo. Reading the transcript of his press conference, he knows. He's saying this game is a must win, is like Everton, is like the Southampton game. He's saying that. He knows. The journalist said your job's on the line if you don't win. He knows. And I think so. It's probably more to do with it saving his skin and getting 3 points than resting players. But that has been on his mind.
Jack says, at least most of the players on the pitch will give 100%. Maybe the new signings wouldn't be. Rue says, a team that knows how to play with each other, and that's not a bad thing. 4-5-1 out of possession and 4-4-2 in possession. Lewis is asking the question, is this Moyes throwing the new players and recruitment under the bus? It's said that Moyes has had final say in signings except Danny Ings, so it's infuriating when he calls them out and takes no responsibility. Alison says she's going for our first double and probably only double of the season. Doug says 8 players matching the team from last time. The 3 players that were played last time that aren't playing today is Dawson, Lingard, and Ben Rama.
Yeah,
mental. It is absolutely bonkers. 8 players, and like I said, they've got relegated and come up since, and we've spent probably 250, 300 million on our team because we
can't forward think. He can't innovate. This is why he struggles so much when he comes up against young managers, young coaches. They outthink him. They time in knots. What do you do? What does anyone do? What do you do when you're under pressure? When your back's against the wall? What do you do? He reverts back. You see, it's all there. It's all there. But I say that I hope it works for him. I really do. I hope it works for him today and for for the rest of the season. But it's gone. It cannot carry on any longer.
Thank you, Doug. I was intrigued by that. Thank you for looking it up for me. And Keenan said, a dark day for Lanzini fanboys. What are we to do? Please, if it's too up front. Of course. Alan said, can't say he's confident after seeing this, but we're trying to stay positive until we see what happens. He's trying something different, and we seem to have 2 up top. Matt says, honestly, I find it quite refreshing. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and Moyes is gone. I'm quietly confident.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I would echo my thoughts, actually.
Hammer 1999 said, I like the 2 up front, but that's about it. Balls in behind to Antonio between Cedric and Tossin is our route to go. Beat your man, cross or shoot, and hope for Ings to score the rebound. I just hope that we do have 2 up front so Ings can literally just stay central, not do as much running, let Antonio do the running, and just stay in that box. Because, do you know something? Antonio is arguably our best crosser of the ball.
Yeah.
I'm not even taking the piss. Yeah. Technically, he's not the best player. He's not the most gifted player. But when he gets out wide and he has to whip a ball in, it's sometimes a bit of a cracker. And unfortunately, he's the one we need in the box to be on the end of it. Yeah. So I'm not against seeing Antonio drifting wide on this one and getting in. But this is where Bowen and or Fornals need to get in and help Danny Ings. Because Souček can't do it today because he's got a lot more defensive responsibility than perhaps what he would usually have. Or maybe he will. Declan's good enough to carry it on his own. So, but wait and see. The one thing I was going to say, do you know about like how it's good to see him do something different? Now, I do not disagree. I'm just going to skip to the end of the chat. If I've ignored you, put your comments back in a minute. The one thing I was going to disagree with that is I'm done. Do you know this whole he's trying something different? I get that mentality, but that was 15 games ago. This is too late now. I'm no longer. If we lose 15 games ago, if we tried 4-4-2 and lost, I said, you know something, unlucky. He's tried 2 up front. It's not quite worked. We can work with this. I'm past that point now. If this doesn't work, no. You've had your chance to experiment. Time for experiments gone. It's now. We need answers. So if this don't work, then on his head be it. And if it does work, he'll get the credit for it. But this is what he should have been trying 15 games ago, or immediately as soon as we signed Danny Ings, this is what he should have been trying with Ings up front. The fact he's had to wait to this one, I've got no sympathy, and I can't bring myself to say at least he's trying something different. I get it in terms of enthusiasm and optimism for the game. It might give you a little bit of a boost. I get that, but in terms of Moyes doing something different, no, sorry, mate, but it's too late.
I don't think anyone would disagree with you. I don't think that's what he was saying. Really, I think he was saying, do you know what? It's rolling the dice. I think he's resigned to him going. I think that's what he's saying. You know what? He's trying something. Win. If we win, great. If not, he's gone. I think that's pretty much what he was saying. Yeah.
Leon, thank you for the 499 super chat. Leon says Moyes is an okay manager against older managers, but when he's up against a younger manager, he gets exposed for being the dinosaur he is. Really good comment here from Luke Mann says Creswell also has brilliant crosses, which is something we criticise Emerson for the lack of in the last couple of games, is sort of dithering a little bit in the final third, whereas Creswell can sometimes. Once he's done the role of the soul, he can be on it, if you like.
Yeah. Some first time ones would be nice though, rather than having, as you say, to trap the ball, roll his foot over the top of it, then cross. Last few times he's tried that, he's been blocked. And to be fair, you would do that if you were opposition manager. You would instruct your right back to say, look, and the right winger, look, this is what he's going to do. He's not going to cross first time. At the moment you see him try and do that, you've probably got a couple of seconds to get to him before he crosses.
Luke says, smacks of a team set up simply not to lose. What a depressing mess. I actually disagree with that. I don't feel that vibe. It depends on how we actually set up and stuff. That team could set up 10 different ways on the pitch, but I'm not sure I can subscribe to, if it was sort of 3 at the back kind of thing, then I would suggest it's maybe set up not to lose. But I actually think it's a team that I think he's trying to win the game, actually, in a David Moyes way, which is playing 2 up front. We can't quite have Cornet on the wing.
You're right. Stop short of actually fully attacking. Yeah.
But I do think it's probably, in Moyes' mind, this is pretty attacking for him. Gavino said, understand the need to rotate, but why keep Souček then? Why is Bowen starting when we have Cornet? Mike says, slow and old team with a bench full of defenders. This makes me believe he's playing about 3-5. This is what happens when the manager believes he's a dead man walking. Doug said the game again from 2020, 15 months earlier than the last one. There's still 8 players matching our starting 11 today. The only ones missing, Balbuena, Masuaku, and Sebastian Haller.
It's a shocker. Well done, Doug, though, yeah.
So 3 years ago, we played Fulham, and 8 of the players that started then started in 2021, a year later, and they're all starting today. It's the same 8 players.
Wow. It's bad. It's bad. I mean, the thing is, before, let's remember, it was David Moyes that appointed Rob Newman as well, just before he tries to distance himself, from the purchases. He signs off on, or even he said it in that Diary of a CEO podcast. He said it. He signs off on them. So, there you go.
Chippy said, I think Creswell will be the hybrid third centre back to provide the ball into the box with Finals covering him, Antonio to knock it down for Ings and Big Sue.
Would be nice. Yes. I'm not. As I say, he's gone. He has to go. He has to go at the end of the season for this game. Cresswell crossing it over for Thomas Souček header. I'll take it all day long, mate. I'll have 2. That would be great. Whatever. I just want us to get out of this mess now. and then we get to the summer. It gets to the end of the season, we have to deal with it.
Dean says, bar Bowen, who's the second youngest in our side? I mean, there's Rice, then Bowen, and Fanals, I would suggest. I mean, Fabianski's 37, Sufal's 31, O'Bonner's 34, Zuma's
how old's Ings?
31.
Yeah.
Antonio
32, 33.
Yeah. Crespo's 33, 34. Souček, Fanals are late 20s. So it's
27, 27, 28, maybe, yeah.
So, Christ, our second youngest players, maybe Bowen, 26 years old, and then it's probably Souček or Fanals at 27.
He must not be let anywhere near. That's why I'll try to keep the video separate, Gio, and I didn't want to speak about David Moyes in the under-18s one. He must not be allowed anywhere near those players.
Ben says it's 100% more of a case of being forced to make changes than reverting to favourite. Everyone's forgetting it's our third game in 6 days. The likes of Emerson can't start. Mark saying this could be the oldest team ever. Webley says feels like this will hinge on Antonio and Ings. Many of us have wanted to see them up front, and this will be won and lost on what they can do today. I don't
think anyone's forgetting. It's our third game. Everybody says it. Everybody says it.
I don't care what Moyes is reverting back to what worked for him as long as it works. Just want to win. He's admitted his failures with his lineup. Yeah, Roger says, how does Cornet not start this game? Agree, Ariola and Downs may as well not turn up. Disgraceful treatment. Also, why is Mubama not on the bench after his hat-trick in
well done, Roger. Well done.
Week? Johnson, well, he's back on the bench. I mean, he was out the squad completely the last 2 games. He was in the training clip, so he's not been injured. He's just not been selected. So he's sort of promoted, if you like, to...
But there are, it's like somebody said a few minutes ago, there are a lot of defenders on that bench. Don't need that many defenders. There are 3 fullbacks on the bench. Okay. All right, yes, I know Johnson can cover numerous positions, but yeah, and don't be wrong, I do believe what I say. I almost would rather there wasn't, but anyone else would. Obama's been sensational this season.
Yeah, I completely agree.
He should be on the bench.
Kerr doesn't need to be on the bench. No. Kerr or Johnson, one of them need to be left out and Mubama on there. Because let's just say we were playing 4-4-2, and let's say it was working. We're 1-0 up.
Yeah.
And let's say Antonio gets an injury, then what? What are you doing? I guess you'd probably put Cornet on in that position.
Yeah.
But we don't have a natural replacement anymore. You've then got to change something. You've got to alter because you don't have a striker on that bench. But at least Mubama keeps it balanced, keeps you covered for the position. And it's frustrating. But that's what he always does. He never picks the youngsters. He will always pick who's the most senior. That's why, I mean, it probably isn't. That's why I'm not surprised Ben Johnson was left out of the last 2 games. The least senior of the options available for the bench. I'll just drop him. It's the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
Geezer got no cojones. Anyway, right, let's get the results from the poll with our man, Mr. Charlie Walls. Charlie, what are the live chat saying with their optimism or confidence in their lineup?
Optimism is a bold stretch. We asked, how do you feel about the starting 11? 4% said they were very happy. 27% said they were fuming, although I'll be honest with you, it was leading for a long time. 28% said it's all right, and 40% said it's poor out of the almost 1,000 people who voted.
No, loads of votes. Cheers.
So not a lot of optimism, Gio. I can't lie to you.
I'd probably be in the poor category. I think I'd find myself in there.
I think I'd say it's all right. I don't know. I can't love it. But I don't know if there is a formation, or I don't know if David Moyes could theoretically put down 11 people.
Do you know something, Charlie? The fact that Souček starts means it cannot be greater than poor for me. I don't mind disagreeing with some selections, and like Fanal's fine. I would prefer Cornet, but fine, I can accept Fanal. I get it, right? Even Creswell over Emerson, a bit harsh on Emerson, but fine. But Souček starting now, sorry, I struggle to see the reasoning beyond that. In fact, he might have a good game today, and that will justify the selection. However, we're talking based on the last few performances, the evidence, things we've physically seen. There's no reasoning for him to start this game ahead of the alternatives, which was Lanzini and Flynn Downs. He wants to go defensive. Flynn Downs is there. Wants to have someone a bit more comfortable in possession. He's got Lanzini. To start Souček automatically demotes it to me, because that was I say the biggest decision. That was the easiest decision he had for today. It was the easiest win for David Moyes. Just take Souček out of the team, put someone else in there. We'd all go, oh, thank God, I'm feeling a lot better today. But because he's kept it in there, you almost can't enjoy the fact. You almost can't look forward to the fact that we're possibly playing 4-4-2 today. That should be something to be quite excited about, get forward. But you can't, because there's someone in midfield that should not be there, and that just drags my mood down completely altogether. Had that been Downs or Lanzini, do you know what? I'd be sat here thinking, all right, okay, I'd have preferred Cornet, but I'm looking forward to this now. I think I fancy us. I can't. We've got a passenger.
Can I be honest? Can I be honest? I think you're stretching it a little bit. I don't think you would be.
But
I think.
Opinion.
But I know. I agree with you having your opinion. Don't get me wrong. I don't think you'd be sitting here going, "Oh, I'm up for this now." I don't think that's the case. What I would say is this: I'll put my hands up, and people want to watch. I'm gonna. I like Thomas Souček. I'm not even going to beat around the bush. I think you can't start him today. I don't really think David Moyes is looking at this at any point and going, I need a win with the fans. I don't think he gives a crap. I don't think that's been abundantly clear for months that he doesn't really care, right? So I don't think he's going to not start him because of the fans, right? But what I would say is I think just from a form perspective, it makes zero sense starting him. The only thing is that he does just bring things that those other people don't. But realistically, he also hasn't been bringing any of them he hasn't been bringing any of them for a couple of games now, at least. At least we're talking a couple of games now. And if you're dropping someone like Emerson, who has been playing well, and if you're dropping someone like Kehrer, who has been awful, then there's no real justification for starting him. But I look at that team. I don't know if you agree with this. I haven't heard what you guys think the makeup of it and everything is, because I go away once you do the bets and stuff. I look at it and I see the Lingard formation. I see essentially Mikel Antonio playing as Lingard. He's going to be the person whose job it is basically to pick up the ball from deep and just sprint it forward. Danny Ings is there essentially to just put the ball in there. Apart from that, that's basically Jesse Lingard team. That's what I think. I think David Moyes has looked at it and gone, I'm under pressure here. I've just gone for the thing I trust the most.
The thing with Souček, looking at his past 3 or 4 games, we're talking form here. We're not talking Souček as a man or anything like that.
He can't stop.
Right. He might have a good game today. This Fulham team, it's not the best team in the Premier League. There's some good players in there. They play well. They're well organized. It's fine. It's not a difficult game for a Premier League player to play this game. Yeah. But with Souček, the last 3 games or something, you were to take his highlights, the best things he's done. Number 1 is defending set pieces. Number 2 is heading it from kickoff, and number 3 is getting substituted off the pitch. It's not good.
You don't want a player starting who has to justify their selection, because that means they probably shouldn't have started before the game. That's ultimately what we're here, right? We're sitting here and going, well, if he does well, then he justifies the fact he was picked. That means he probably shouldn't have been picked unless it's like some sort of mad situation. I don't know. It's one of those things. I would probably say it's all right, realistically. I don't really want, if I'm being honest, I don't really want a 2 up top, but it is what it is.
He should be in the team because of what he's done and not because of law of averages. At some point, Souček will have another good game, because you can't possibly have 15 crap ones in a row. Eventually, he's going to have a good game. He will. It's law of averages, right? Yeah. But we should not have a player in the team hoping eventually he will put in a good shift. But the difference with a Souček good shift is it won't win you the match. If Danny Ings has a good game today, he probably scores 2. Antonio has a good game, might score 1 set. Well, not Bowen has a good game, he'll make a difference. Yeah. If Zuma has a good game, he blocks everything out. Fabianski has an easy afternoon. Souček has a good game, he puts in a couple of tackles and maybe gets 15 passes. Basically, if Souček doesn't score a header, his game is probably going to be average at best. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I would love him to be man of match, but and this is how bad I've got with Souček and David Moyes. The consequences of that is he will start the next 5 games after this one, regardless of how well he plays in the other 4. The 5th one he will start because he played well against Fulham, and it's just I've given up to some extent. There's some people saying why me and Gonzo not angry about the starting 11 earlier, because it's been sucked out of me. The anger is gone. I don't have it anymore. He's just sucked it out of me. Moyes, absolute so-and-so.
There's no point being angry about it. It's just at some point you get to the stage where you're just like,
well, you can't do it, Charlie. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, after the Newcastle game, I did two videos back to back. I was angry in both of them. That's Wednesday. Yeah. You can't. It's not good for you. You got to try and you can't. You got to try and ignore it. You got to go and do something else. You can't let David Moyes ruin your whole weekend, because that's what has been happening. So, I'm laughing at someone baiting. There's somebody really subtly trolling. But they're good. They're good.
Click on it. I want to see it. I'm not there. But Charlie loves trolling.
He's subtly triggering everyone. Anyway, but no, not being rude, not being nasty. It's fine. But it's Yes.
Right,
Anyway, people got to do what they got to do. A little bit of a distraction. You can't let David Moyes ruin your weekend. We might win. I hope we do.
Right, 3 things before I disappear. First of all, everyone, please like the video, subscribe if you're new to Hamish Chats. 2 things. It's free. It takes you about 5 seconds to do both. It helps us out. Second thing, everyone in live chat, get your score predictions in now. Let's see what you were saying. But please make it obvious which team you're going for. I hate when we play away because some people put 2-1. I'm like, do they mean West Ham or Fulham because they're the home team? Please make it clear who you're predicting to win. And thirdly, Gonzo, can I get your final words and your score prediction, please?
My score prediction is 2-0 to West Ham. It better bloody work for David Moyes. In fact, all our sakes, we cannot. I've spoken to numerous people this week who said, look, I don't usually want us to lose a game, but if it means David Moyes goes, happy to lose this game. Don't think we've got the necessary fixtures in us. We need to win this game. And the best I can hope for is actually win it and David Moyes goes at the end of the season. I feel almost slightly liberated by his team, Geo, for the reasons that I said, because I feel now, if I was the owners, whatever, and I'd given this bloke 200 million and this was his answer, I would now be deciding now, right, okay, this is what you've done with your recruitment. I've given you 200 million pounds. To get this right, the turnover of the club is about 200 million, 190 sometimes 210. It's about 200 million. You've basically just gambled and wasted 200 million pounds worth, a whole year's worth of the club money, and you're putting out the same team that you were putting out in 2020 or whatever it is. This is not acceptable. And I think if anything else, you'd have to be saying, basically, he's wasted more than Krasinski's investment stake, and I just think so. I think now a line has been drawn in the sand, and this is it. I hope it works for the immediacy of the 3 points, but he's literally just penned his own obituary. Really, he's printed out his own P45 with this, as far as I'm concerned. But I hope we win. I think we can win. I'll go with 2-0.
Charlie, are you predicting a win?
Yeah, 1-0 West Ham. I don't think it's going to be very fun. I think it'll be a crap game of football. But...
Yeah, I think it's going to be a rubbish game. I don't think Fulham's lineup's not that great. And well,
yeah, my gut says Danny Ings will get a goal. It'll be 1-0 West Ham. I don't see us scoring more than 1. I don't see them scoring at all. 1-0 West Ham. I think it will be rubbish. So a great advert for the watch along. But I think it's gonna, I think it's gonna be a crap game of football. But we'll get the win. What's more annoying, Gio, is what you always say. If you're deciding, this is the game, he either doesn't lose this one or wins this one, and then he does it, then what the hell happens in 3 games? You're just back in the cycle again. I think we're at the beginning of that cycle again. I think we're going to win, and then we'll see. He'll be here again until the next must-win game, and then we'll go through the exact same conversations again where he needs to get the win and blah, 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 and all this other sort of nonsense. And we're just going to hope that the points add up over the course of the season, and there's 3 West teams in us, which is a bit of a sorry state of affairs, but there we go.
I'm going to stick with 1-1. I think this Fulham team is there to be beaten, and a bit like the Southampton team, I think if you were... 15 of the Premier League teams could possibly win today against Fulham. I just think we're unfortunately in one of the remaining 4. I can't think we'll get beat because of the Fulham team, but I'm not sure we can win because of what I've seen from us recently. The win against Southampton and the defeat against Newcastle. We played some good football against Newcastle in brief spells, but it was, the first 5 minutes, 10-15 minutes at the end of the first half, but that was few and far between. He's taken a bit of a gamble with the lineup and the formation, which... I welcome. I look forward to it, and I hope it works because I'm like Gonzo. I can't bring myself to say, we'll lose at least to get sacked because I'm not convinced that will happen. I hope we win, stay up, somehow win this trophy, and he buggers off at the end of the season. That's my hopes for the next couple of months. But I think today, it'll be Fulham 1, West Ham 1, which I think is the most dangerous result possible for West Ham today, where we're stuck in no man's land with David Moyes, and the league table still looks a little bit ropey, and the fixture list has just got a little bit more difficult because this was one of the winnable fixtures on paper. So that's where I'm at, 1-1. Anyway, myself and Gonzo are going to disappear. I'll be back at halftime to join Charlie for a bit of a chin whack, and then we'll be back at full time. We don't go anywhere because Charlie's here for the duration of the game. He'll be interacting with you lot, so please do keep him company, and I will see you at halftime. And Gonzo, I'll see you at full time.
Thank you, Gio. Thank you, Gonzo. Thank you, Gonzo, twice. There you go. What a time to be alive. A double Gonzo thank. Oh, and a third. Let's go. Thank you. And thank you all for joining. Hello, everyone. How are we all? I hope you're well. Oh, he's not there that time. It's just the chair, ladies and gentlemen. Just the chair. Thank you to whatever the company made the chair. Can't remember the name. Anyway, should we talk West Ham? Should we do that? Let's look at the lineup, shall we? Let's break it down a little bit more. Let's test if I set up the buttons properly, because I did test them and then I tried something just a second ago and it didn't work. So let's see. This one needs to be pressed. That's working. Okay, that wasn't working before. Okay, it's fine. We're here. This is the West Ham lineup, ladies and gentlemen. We have Fabianski in goal, Sufal, Ogbonna, Zuma, and Cresswell in defence, with potentially a 4 ahead of them of Fornals, Rice, Souček, and Bowen, with Antonio and Ings up front. Now, there's a lot of different ways that this can play out. Like I was just saying, I see it as the Jesse Lingard formation. I see it as essentially a 4-3-3. Sort of maybe kind of a little bit of a thing, right? You could put Fornals very easily in there. You could put these as a front three with Antonio on the left potentially. You could even argue that it's probably a back 5. You could make that argument with Cresswell playing left centre back, Fornals playing at left wing back. There's a lot of different options here of which way this can actually line up, and we won't know entirely until the game is on the pitch and playing, and we see them where they're standing, where they're actually going to sort of be. But from a lineup perspective, like I said, there are things people like, there are things people won't like, right? Obviously, Thomas Souček being included is a negative. Emerson being dropped is a negative. There are things that people would like, for example, a front two people would be interested in, right? There's Fornals being included if it is in a central midfield role in sort of 4-3-3, even though most people would obviously prefer it ahead of Thomas Souček. Him being in a midfield 3 is something people would look at, right? I think there is a lot of things to like, but I think there is also a lot of things to dislike. And at this stage, as I was just saying to Gio, I don't think there are any teams that David Moyes could put out that would have us all excited, that would have us all confident, that would have us all this, because ultimately the man in the dugout is the man in the dugout, right? So you look at it and you say, okay, I think he's gone for the thing he trusts the most. Would I have done that? I don't think I would. If I'm being honest, I don't think I would. But before we go through the subs, how do you feel? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the most confident possible, 10 being the least confident possible, how confident are you of a West Ham result today? Lob that in the comments. We'll go through them in a sec. I should also say while I'm here, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. Hit that bell notification button to make sure you don't miss out on any future videos, because we do tons of stuff. There's lots of games happening non-stop right now. So, hey, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that bell notification button, because there's lots of videos, lots of previews, lots of watch-alongs. We do a watch-along every single game on this channel. I've missed 2 since starting the entire watch-alongs. Since we started them years ago, I've only missed 2. And we've had one for every other game. Last season, we did every single match. So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and all that stuff. And like the video. Liking helps us massively. I'll be honest, we've flown past 300 gold already. So, yeah, we're living in a free world, as someone sung at some point. But yeah, the bench: Areola, Aged, Benrahma, Cornet, Downs, Johnson, Kehrer, Lanzini, and Emerson. Annoying that Mubama's not on there, I guess, would be my big first thing. I feel like you could just put him on the bench. I don't get why he isn't, if I'm being honest. I think we've got 2 strikers on the pitch. Neither of them are particularly prone to finishing matches, I would say. You know, you've got Antonio, who seems to be just sort of permanently tired. You have Danny Ings, who seems to be a bit of a sick note to some extent. That's a harsh way of wording it. That's a very harsh way of wording it. Not a sick note, but has been substituted off very frequently and hasn't finished too many games this year. Why not just have Mubama on the bench? Are you really going to bring on Aged and Kehrer? Are you really going to bring on Kehrer and Johnson? Like, you're just not. So take off Kehrer, put on Mubama, and I'd be a little bit happier about that bench. Otherwise, it's not that bad. You've got some game changers on there in terms of Benrahma and especially Cornet. I really want to see Cornet come on. I would have quite liked to see him start, if I'm being honest. You've got Lanzini, who can obviously run things from a deeper position if we need it. There are decent players on that bench, but yeah, I just don't. I don't know. These are the decisions he makes. Before we go through the Fulham lineup, let's have a look at some of your confidence levels. yeah. It's just put it on repeat. Just copy and paste it. Make a Word document with it, and you can just copy and paste it in. Do you know what I mean, Mr. Pardew? It makes life easier. 5, 3, 3, 10, 3, 4, 9, 2, 2, 1. Lots of low levels and one or two big ones. 1 or 2 big ones. 3, 3, 4, 7. Big one from Peter John there. 4, 8, 2, 0. Afternoon, Dean. Hope you're well. Hope you're well. Stomach kicking off there. I apologize. 3, 8, 4. 1000%. Win said Foxes are screaming. Not 1,100. Don't know how I managed to put a different zero in there. Apologies, but there you go. 5, 2, -10. 4, 4, 6, 20. 2, 5, 2, 6, 4, 5, 7, 4.5. There's a lot of sort of mid to lower scores, I think, is the medium here. You're talking about your low ebb of the sort of median being a sort of 4. The low end sort of being probably about a 3-ish, and the high end being a 5 or 4. I think it is one of those things where, again, like I said, all three of us were vaguely confident in terms of final result. We'll get your opinion on that in about 5 minutes time, locking in no score predictions. But I think that's where we sort of can go, yeah, maybe it will happen, maybe it won't. But it's difficult to come into this game looking at that team, looking at how we've been playing and having any sort of massive form of confidence. A tentative 69 from Dan. Good to see. 6 for me. It says, Woody, can't say I'm happy with the selection, but at least he's trying something. You're not wrong. He's trying something, I guess. That is a positive way to look at it. He is at least trying something. Whether people like that or not is a different question, but he at least is. Richard says 8 out of 10, to be honest. Moyes has picked the players who will fight. I think that's kind of what he's done. I think he's just picked the ones he trusts the most. Again, this is the first time. If you watched the watch-alongs a long time, you probably know I've said this a million times. But whenever people have spoken about, if he loses this game, he's gone. If he loses this game, he's gone. I've never felt that way. There's a lot of games where it's felt like it's either do or die. I've never felt that way. This is the first time I genuinely believe if he loses, he's gone. The first time. And so it's not entirely surprising me that I'm looking at that team and going, this is sort of the players I would have suspected he trusts the most. This is the formation. If that's why I'm thinking in my head it's Lingard. That's why I'm sort of justifying that in my head, that it would be that, whether or not it's the case, it's not the case. We'll see. Let's move on to the Fulham lineup quickly. We have Leno starting in goal with Cedric, Tosin, Ream, and Robinson in defence. Paulinho, Reed, and Andreas Pereira in midfield, with Decordova, Reed probably playing on one wing, Willian on the other, and Vinicius up front. You got substitute Spencer of Roddick, Tete, Duffy, Diop, Lukic, Wilson, Kearney, Solomon, and Dan James. Dan James, ladies and gentlemen. Big up Dan James. Why? Don't know. I started clapping. I needed a justification. Let's go sub bingo. Sub bingo is the game where we predict when David Moyes will make his first substitution. You don't have to say what player it is, although the bench is now running along your bottom of your screen if you're vibing it. However, the time is what matters. What time do you think David Moyes will make his first substitution? I'm going to stick with 69, obviously. And I'm going to say it's going to be Cornet for Ings. That's my bet. Cornet for Ings. That's the vibe, Michael. That's the kind of vibe we're making here. Let's talk wrestling. I'm going to say Cornet for Ings. And while you do that, I'll remind you, it's Saturday at 3 p.m, annoyingly, which means that you can't watch it legally in the United Kingdom, which is why I am at my North Idaho home today to watch the match with the holiday home of this beautiful man right here. However, if you are looking for a way to watch the game, maybe you are in the UK, maybe you're somewhere else entirely, there are definitely ways you can do it. If you scroll down into the link in the description below, there's a bit there called Join Our Discord. Completely free, lovely Hammers Chat, West Ham community, but fans of all clubs are welcome. But more importantly, on the left-hand side, if you scroll down, there's a bit there called Stream Links, in which you will find what you're looking for. Shout out Mulchmite, who made that graphic, by the way. I feel like I always should, because Jesus Christ, it's much better than anything I could have done. Especially as quickly as Mulch made it as well. Just out of nowhere. It was just in my DMs. It was mad. Big up Danny Dyers, Chocolate Homunculus, as per usual. What a name. There are a few names on YouTube as good as that. I refuse to admit. If anything, I refuse to admit there are any. Big ups. Thank you. 78th minute, everyone he brings on is already on. Yeah, a little bit. 60th minute minus with five subs more. I tell you what, I was shocked he did as many as he did. I thought in the weekend game it was going to be incredible. I thought it was going to be some sort of I don't know. I thought he was going to do lots of changes. It was going to work out. He did lots of changes. Nothing changed. If anything, we got slightly worse. It was a bit disgraceful. So if anything, at this point, I'm a little bit scared of the idea of him doing lots of changes, you know? Don't know why. I probably shouldn't be. First up, there won't be any zeros. Paul Fowler is saying, Paul Flower, sorry. I misread it, Paul. I apologize. It's Paul Flower, not Paul Fowler. In the 70th minute, 74th minute, says Matt. 69, nice. 60 minutes, 70th minute, Johnson for Ings. We're seeing a 15-minute. Zuma hobbles off. Scarily accurate. Hey, at least we have 15 defenders on the bench. Come on, I guess. 46 minutes, says Michael. 89 minutes, says MC. Last day saying Benny for 4 hours. 46 minute. 59 minutes, says Gary. 58 minutes, says Sharky. 3 subs at half time, says Poker. Big. DDCH is saying 60 minutes. 34-minute injury, says Michael. Stress. Very stress. And hold them tight, Graham, is what I would suggest. And hold them very, very tight indeed. 45th minute, as we will be 3-0 down. Stress. But again, potentially accurate. 62 minutes, says the mighty Lou. 6.9 seconds, Areola on. Bold. Up against his former club, potentially. You know? Won't be, because he won't come on. But, you know. Come on. Got it. Sorry, I was trying to hit the volume, so I was aware of when the hell the match is actually happening. 56 minutes, Ings for a defender. Probably accurate. 71st minute, says Artel. There's a lot of, like I said, a lot of late substitutions thinking there. I can respect it. I can understand it. I can't tell what I want from him anymore. Because I thought in the last game, I thought that's what I would have wanted. I would have thought when it was going badly, do a lot of changes, change it up. And he tried to, but the thing is, it was all like for like substitutions. So do I want big sweeping changes? Probably not. Probably not. I probably just want him to do stuff. I don't know. I do. If you pay for Patreon, that's what you're paying for. My flight specifically to North Idaho. Patreon.com/Hammers Chat, ladies and gentlemen. What a time to be alive. Just to be clear, it's not at all. It's not at all. I shouldn't make that statement. I should not make that statement. Lee, good to see you. I hope you're well, my friend. Although I hope your predictions wrongly. Lee said 3-0 to Fulham. And I really want Lee to be wrong on this. I very really want Lee to be wrong on this. Apart from that, good to see you, Lee. I hope you are. There is a bit of snow about. So hopefully the connection will be strong, because there is a bit of snow about today at North Idaho. 94th minute, 71st, 65 minutes, as always, cornet for Ings. I think the cornet for Ings one is just the one that makes sense. Just eat a bell right now, says Graham. Listen, if the people called for it, It's a bit difficult because I'm obviously scrolling quickly. Dave with the £2. I'm not joking when I say, listen, thank you very much, Dave. You didn't have to put the £2. Who does Sabina manage? I don't actually know anything about Sabina. I've got no prior knowledge of Sabina. I'll be honest with you. Paqueta is injured, Wally. Good to see you, by the way. But Paqueta is unfortunately injured. Let's get on to score predictions. Let's finalize those, ladies and gentlemen, shall we? Let's lock those in. We've spoken about the teams. We've spoken about the lineups. We've spoken about Fulham's lineup. We've spoken about the bench, when subs will happen. We've spoken about literally it from every angle for over an hour. So now is the time to make those score predictions, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to lock those bad boys in. Gutted Diop ain't playing. He was just having fun with Zuma in a tunnel, I saw. Takes one flight and doing it. Yes. Wish we were on television more. That wasn't Sky Sports. That would make my life easy. I'm slightly concerned. Ray has told me to check my phone. He sent me 2 videos. One is 14 seconds long. The second one is 2 seconds. I'm very concerned what they're going to be. Part of me feels like I shouldn't just play them out loud on the stream. Ray, can I play them out loud on the stream? Is that a thing I can do? Because if so, I will do it. Let's have a look at his score predictions while we can. Ray, of course, my co-host on the Two Spanners, One Hammer podcast on patreon.com/Hammers Chat, the Patreon exclusive podcast made just for you. One you can guest on patreon.com/Hammers Chat. Check it out. I need to sneeze. My lord, that was a sudden one. I was expecting it slightly later, and then all of a sudden it just came out. That's what she said. Can you do cream eggs instead of baby milk? It's a good shout, Major. I don't actually like cream eggs. We had some in the house, and my girlfriend ate them all, and I was low-key. She apologized, and I was like, "It's fine. I don't want them." So I could have. I mean, I probably would be into cream eggs that much cheese at the same time. So 1-1. 1-1, 1-1, 2-1. Souček scores last minute to save Moyes. Wouldn't it be fitting, James? 2-0 Fulham, 2-1, says Chris. That's why I know the name. That's why I know the name. The name was in the back of my mind, and I was like, why do I know this name? Who does she manage? I assumed it would have been an international team because, I only really pay attention to West Ham's women's results, and that's about it. So I assumed it would be an international team. Still, that makes sense. Then get her in. Screw it. Who cares at this point? Get rid of Moyes. Let's take a big wild swing. I'm here for it. Let's go. Equal opportunities. 4-1, 3-1, 0-0, 1-1. I know, Sean. No, we need more. I don't even have Mitro to look at either. I'm just gonna have to hope other people step up to the large mantle. We'll see how it plays out. 3-1 to Fulham, says DTCH. We have 2-1 to West Ham, 5-0 to Fulham, 1-1. I can play that. Okay. I'm going 2-1 West Ham. Cornet on the bench, again on the bench, Emerson on the bench, Areola on the bench. How again getting dropped for having a poor game, making a mistake. Okay, fine. I would have disagreed, but sure, okay. Makes sense to some extent. Emerson getting dropped after playing well. Okay. Very confusing. Tuna says 1-1. It is on Beanie Sports 2. It's also on Optus Sport 5. Apparently, don't know how I know that. But I'm just saying. That is 2-3 to West Ham, says Evan. My brain struggled to. Thank you, Evan. My brain really struggled to put purchase on that somehow. 2-1 to the Irons, 5-0, 2-1, 4-0 Fulham. Thank you, Susan. Very kind of you. Very kind of you, Susan. It was very sudden. 3-1 to the Irons, 4-2 to West Ham, 0-0. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the score predictions. Let's lock those bad boys in. They're locked in. No more score predictions. We're done. It's over. The game is about to kick off. I have a timer, of course, in the top corner there, which will tell you exactly how far behind you I am. I might be a little bit behind you. Hey, I might be ahead of you. Who knows? Bold elbow. Bold. But you'll be able to see exactly where I am in relation to you up here. Ladies and gentlemen, the game at Craven Cottage is about to kick off. It's West Ham United versus Fulham in the Premier League. Do or die for David Moyes. West Ham to kick off. Come on, you Irons. Deploy the boys. It's time to run two things indeed. Remember to stick around because we will be live throughout this entire game. What a time to be alive. We will be live. And then halftime, Gio will be here so you can hear someone who actually knows what they're talking about. Talk about football for a bit. That'll be nice, won't it? And then, of course, second half, all me and a full-time Geo Gonzo will be back with their live match review. West Ham with a throw in the early stages, whipped in from Aaron Cresswell. Can't quite find Jarabone at back post. Soufal trying to hook it back across, can't quite manage it. We're still inside Fulham's box. Souček can't quite get his head on it. Battles for it, wins the second one. Looking for Antonio, almost gets the control down. Can't quite find his way forward. There is it's not a fake whistle. It's just my audio is significantly further behind for a handball on Jarabone. Very exciting stuff. Oh. Yes, Titch. How are you, sir? Good to see you, my G. How are you? Hope you're well, bro. Hope you're well. Titch, of course, runs Hammers Fans United. Amazing channel, but most importantly, an amazing guy. Appears on the Disabled Team, the Leeds United channel, frequently on the Extra Time Show specifically. I'd highly recommend you will check that out live on Fridays at 10 p.m. However, Titch, how are you, sir? Hope you're well. Hope you're good. Come on, you irons indeed, Mr. Partridge. Right, I'm just going to play what Ray sent me out loud, and I'm really going to hope it's not going to demonetize me. I'm going to trust Ray on this.
So, Charlie, I'm watching, but I'm also cooking in the kitchen today. Okay, ugly. Someone's going to get food poisoning, I swear. If I'm cooking, look at this guy. I'm joking. Top chef. Chef Ramsay Ray.
Very good. What I would say is do go to Coyote Ugly in Liverpool. Maybe don't order food today specifically.
Also, 2-0 to the Irons. Come on!
There you go. My co-host of the Two Spanners One Hammer.
2-0 to the Irons. Come on!
There you go. My co-host from Two Spanners, One Hammer, Ray. I'm sorry if that was loud. I couldn't tell you how loud it was. Don't order food there today. Go. Lovely time. Ray will have a nice conversation with you, I'm sure. But also, don't order food there today. It seems like it would be against your best interest. Right, let's try and find one where the audio is at least in sync. In sync. Well, nothing else is happening. Ray looks like the love child of Dan Lawless and Stone Cold. Ray, how do you feel about that? If you can, he's injured. He's injured. Titch. He's out, unfortunately, through injury. So yeah, he can't play today. Okay, this one's in time. This one's in time. Somehow we haven't conceded yet, Dizzy. Amazingly, we haven't conceded yet. Fulham are on the ball for the first proper time here. Wing back on the right, trying to whip the ball in, nodded away from Soufal, not very confidently. But they still have possession of the ball, Fulham. I think big loss for them, obviously, today is Mitrovic. Not having Mitrovic is a big dub for us. Good. I love a bit of that from Thomas Souček. Just a needless slide tackle. Also, every time someone says pack, I think of the Newcastle wrestler. Gobbling up Easter eggs. I'm jealous. I need to go and buy some after today. I haven't had any yet. My girlfriend's mum ordered myself and my girlfriend one, but only my girlfriend's one turned up. So I haven't had any yet. I'm going to have to go to the shops later today and just buy whatever's about. And then Monday's going to be mad. Monday, I'm going to go in. Fulham, free kick. Like I said, Mitrovic, a big loss for them today. He is obviously very good. I've been praising him for a long time. I've wanted him at West Ham for a long time. He was in the Championship. I was begging him. He's proved himself this year of how good he can be. But without him, I don't know. Are Fulham the same force as they were without him? We'll have a look. Declan Rice nods that one out for a corner to Fulham. Lofted it in. Looking, I know it's crazy talk, right? It's crazy. She's in the chat sometimes under one of her 15 different usernames. It's going to be a free kick. It's going to be a corner, though, to Fulham. On the right-hand side, Pereira to take it. Whipped in. Antonio gets the header away. Fulham maintain possession of the ball. Back out to Pereira. Nice little flick around the back there for, I think it was Paulinia. It was Cedric. Thomas Souček's going to be another corner. Yes, not to the good one. Not to the good Vinicius. It is the bad Vinicius. Carlos Vinicius. There's something there in terms of ability, but not frequently on show, if we're being honest. Corner headed away from Thomas Souček. Pablo Fornals misses the clearance, swinging over the leg. Second time does it well. It's about Bowen. If he could get control of that, there was a beautiful counter-attacking opportunity on the way. Ooh, a little bit of pressure from Ings and Antonio, pushing it a little bit, seeing what they could do. We haven't really figured out what this formation is yet. Does anyone have an idea? Does she have an older sister? No, she has a younger brother, unfortunately. I say unfortunately. He's one of my best friends. So not unfortunately, but you know what I'm saying. How are we playing? You know, it's difficult to say. It's difficult to say, to be honest. We've sort of had 4-4-2, 9-1-0. Yeah, fair. 9-1-0, fair. Not a bad ball in, hooked away from Thomas Souček. Jarabone can't quite get there. It's difficult to say. We've definitely been on the back foot so far. If you're looking at performances, we've definitely been on the back foot. They've been sort of on top of us. I would agree with the 4-4-2 shouts. I think from a defensive standpoint, we're definitely sitting in a big 4-4-2 shape, which isn't surprising in this formation. I want to see when we're actually on the ball, what that ends up looking like. When we went to press a little bit there, Jared Bowen was just behind Ings and Antonio, who was sort of pushing forward. But right now, we are sort of backs to the wall. 9-1-1 is not entirely inaccurate. Skamaka is injured. Where is it? Rodo? Skamaka is injured. 2 banks of 4. It definitely feels that way at the moment, doesn't it? Definitely feels that way. Whipped in, nodded away from Kurt Zuma strongly and well. Finds Fornals, out to Declan Rice. He's in an awkward position, takes a very heavy first touch and loses out a throw-in because of it. Very heavy first touch. Cedric on the ball. Fulham tried to find their way down this left-hand side. Yeah, they're certainly the better team so far, or at least on top of it. I don't know if performance-wise they've been that good, but they're certainly on top of us. And it is definitely a 4-4-2 defensive shape. It is properly collapsed and just squeezed in. There is nothing more to it than that. Dinked forward, headed away from Angelo Ogbonna and hooked away from Declan Rice. That feels like it's the way it's going to be today. It's just sitting deep so far and just basically booting it long at Antonio and Ings and hoping that helps. It's very, we will be playing 4-4-2, you know, very 4-4-2. Doesn't feel great. Doesn't feel great. What's the best 90s D&B album? It's a great question, Chris. I don't actually know. Anyone has any comments on the best 90s drum and bass album? Definitely put them in because I would be highly interested. My brain goes instantly to The Prodigy. But I feel like because I was born in 93, I don't have a good enough leg to stand on here. But my brain does instantly go to The Prodigy. Cedric on the right-hand side. Again, they're trying to work their way down the right again. Fulham. Pereira. Out wide to Harrison Reed. Back to Pereira. Back to Cedric. Then trying to loft it in. Can't quite find anyone. It goes all the way over the top to Willian. Soufal and Bowen just sort of chasing him down, forcing him back. Back all the way to the defenders via Robinson. This is 10 minutes in. If you were any, what's the word? If you were in any doubt as to how we were going to set up, if you thought it wasn't going to be like this, it definitely is like this. Would you not class it? I see his thing. I would class it as D&B, at least original Prodigy I would, but that's fair if it's not. I don't know what they would, what would they actually, the Prodigy, what would they be classed as then? Because in my head, I've always thought D&B, but then again, I'm just sort of thinking about it in terms of everything. Because I'm thinking early Prodigy albums. Am I thinking experience? Yeah, kind of experience era. Hardcore, rave, I guess, yeah. Oh, fair enough. Then what would be? I'm intrigued. Rave, yeah, that's fair enough. I never ever make the distinction. That's fair. I'm loving that, Gav. Give me some knowledge, Gav. Lay it down, bro. I want the Mickey Finn. Who's Mickey Finn? I've never even heard of Mickey Finn. Is this something I need to look into? I need to look into Mickey Finn later. West Ham are forward for the first time ever, by the way. Mikel Antonio plays out wide to Soufal to whip it in. Souček's in there, as is Danny Ings, who almost manages to get the ball after a bit of a scramble. He almost manages to get the ball in. Willian comes away with it, does well to take it around Declan Rice, but second, good tackle, Declan Rice. Willian looked to have got the ball around him, but he recovered brilliantly to stop that. And then an awful sliding tackle from Ream. And Jared Bowen, the cross was bad, but we do win a corner. Manel, if you're looking for a way to watch the game, my friend, there are definitely ways you could do it. Look at what's happening on screen right now. You might be able to find it. Brilliant tackle. We're seeing a slow-mo replay of that Rice tackle there. So good. I'll be honest, despite how defensive we are, and my God, we are, whipped in from the corner, looking for Kurt Zuma, it's well headed away from tossing out a Rabayo. Pablo Fornals slips there, tries to go an overhead kick clearance. Thankfully, Aaron Cresswell manages to clear that one up when it was under some pressure there. Oh, and a really nice ball forward for Pablo Fornals, who wins a free kick off Cedric. We'll take that. Really nicely done by Aaron Cresswell there. Came flying in. Pace to burn out of nowhere, collects the ball and plays a really, really nice ball forward to Pablo Fornals on the turn. Brilliant through ball. Easy foul. Easy foul there. Free kick on the left-hand side, basically on the touchline. Timeless by Goldie. Goldie's one of these people, right? I've always heard the name of, and obviously I remember he did that orchestra show at some point, didn't he, on the BBC? But I've never listened to any Goldie music by choice. I probably have without knowing it. But yeah. Keep these suggestions coming in now. I'm definitely going to be listening to them after. Cresswell on Fornals taking the free kick. Cresswell whips it in. Ooh. Declan Rice can't get the header. He was free as well, hands on his head, because the opportunity was good. He managed to find a space and went for it. Willian managed just to keep that one in well. Aaron Cresswell was claiming it went out, but Willian did really well to just keep that one in. I'll tell you what, he's looking a bit dangerous today, Willian. He's looking a bit dangerous. Trouty, good to see you, sir. Hope you are. Looking at the corner, looking at the free kick again. It was whipped in. That's such a good opportunity for Declan Rice and just completely misses the header. It's not even like the header misses. He misses the header, you know? As the North Idaho TV network lets me down for a second. Lets me down. Yeah, it was it. I was being OTT about it, Billy. I will admit that. I will admit that. He did look faster than he ever has in about 7 years, 8 years. When did he join? 2015, basically since then. Here's what it is. Change this now because the North Idaho TV network is moving mad. I've seen people talking about Ings' injury. I haven't noticed anything yet, but A, I could be behind, and B, I've been talking about drum and bass, frankly. Danny Ings is chasing him down now. I'm trying to see how he's moving because I did see some comments about him moving weirdly as well. I'm just sort of paying attention. As Fulham are passing the ball around now, just in the midfield area. I'm trying to sort of see how he's moving about. Austin Adebayo trying to play the ball forward. Well worked out there by Rice and Fornals getting it. Fornals, nice pass into Danny Ings. Oh, he was looking back for the overlap from Pablo Fornals. It was a really nice idea there. I'm really happy to see Fornals back in the team. I know it's not, many people don't like him on the left wing and everything, and I think that's totally fair. But I like him a lot. Yeah, I'm hearing that they're going to make a change now. It will be Danny Ings coming off for Said Benrahma. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I would, Kiri, but then again, I watch wrestling, right? And American wrestling starts at 1 a.m. So I would. Would I want to do it? Would be a different question, Kiri, but would I? Yes. Perfect excuse to change things up. I mean, he has no choice. He's not got any strikers on the bench. This is what I mean. He should have just had Wubama on the bench, and then we could have just brought Wubama on and kept the formation. But he has literally no choice. He has to change formation. He has to change formation. Someone was down on the top of the pitch there for West Ham. I'm not sure who. I think it was Jared Bowen. He's back up now. West Ham, good interception from Sifal. Bowen takes it past Pereira and then just wins the throw. Are we going to see a sub made now? We're going to wait a little bit longer. Benrahma's receiving instructions from David Moyes. Mikel Antonio battling for it, can't quite make it happen. I tell you what, I mean, it could. I know, it's mad. I'm going 1000%. And unlike the Money in the Bank show, it's not going to sell out instantly, so I'll be able to get it. I'll be able to get tickets. Also, I'll be on top of it after I flopped with the Money in the Bank pre-sale, to be fair. But madness. I feel like Pereira turns, hits it. Bloody hell, blocked by Kurt Zuma. I feel like you could maybe in turn, you could, if you wanted to. You could bring on someone like Ben Rama, I guess, and just have him play as a striker. You could put Bowen in a forward role as well. I guess you could, but whatever he does here is going to change it significantly. It's going to change it significantly. Yeah, okay, there are definitely ways you can watch the game, my friend. If you look at the screen right now, there might be one way you can do it. Who knows? What grown man watches American wrestling? Well, I watch Japanese wrestling and English wrestling as well, if it helps. I'm Mexican every so often. And German sometimes. Do lots of different things. Bowen finds Declan Rice, who's charging forward well. Pablo Fornals on the underlap, picks up the ball, spreads it out really nicely to Mikel Antonio. He has Sufal next to him. Jared Bowen's there as well. A little bit of awkward passing around, but we managed to get... Oh, Danny Ings almost manages to force an opportunity there. Doesn't quite make it work. Pereira goes down as well. I think we could as well, Ben. I think we could as well. By the way, if you do go to the Discord and use the link, thank this man. He's the one who does all the hard work. Ben does bits over there. So, for example, Ben, thank you. Not that I'm using a link today because I'm in North Idaho, but also, Ben, thanks. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But I think we could as well. When Fulham get forward, they're not looking particularly super dangerous. And we are actually finding the ball in the box, not super commonly, but about as common, if not slightly more common, if we're being honest, than usual. So I think we could. Oh, Dallas, love that. Oh, Michael, good to see you, sir. How are you? Hope you're well. Danny Ings is getting a bit of treatment here. I don't know. They're not making the sub yet. He's looking at his calf. He's got the physio looking at him. Kevin Nolan and David Moyes are having a little all the coaches are having several different conversations with players. You've got Nevin having a conversation with Cresswell. You've got Ings having a conversation with Moyes, who's having quite a frank conversation. You've got Declan Rice having a conversation with Kevin Nolan. There is a frank. Pereira is hobbling along the touchline for Fulham as well. It's all going off. It's all kicking off. Yeah. Big men touching each other up. That stuff. Yeah. That's me. Yeah. I love big men. What can I say? You know what I mean? I will say this, Anthony. I went to a WWE show WWE had a show at Wembley Arena it was NXT London, for those of you who are aware, NXT Take Up London. I went to that show, and most of the crowd was my age, blokes, beards, black, you know the vibe. But there was this one old lady in front of me, right, who sat directly in front of me, who was like this the entire time. Just like not happy about any of it. She was just fuming the entire show until, again, for people who don't know, Finn Balor came out in the main event. Right, Finn Balor, let's be honest, very attractive man, right? Ripped to the nines, just a handsome guy, annoyingly so, if anything. And she lost her mind. It went from sat there doing nothing the entire time to just going absolutely hog wild. Absolutely hog wild. She loved it. Also, CM, I don't mind you trolling me, mate, but a little bit less of the little bit less of the gay stuff, right? Like, I don't really care, but like, chill out, you know what I mean? So foul, whips it in. She lost her man. Oh, Bowen, this is a really good opportunity. Jared Bowen pulls it back across. It's an own goal. And it's Harrison Reed who does it. I said we were getting the ball in better positions than we have done for a while. Look, it's not ideal, but just the boringness of 4-4-2 is working, and We've put it in a position where it's just, put it in the mix. This is the sort of thing you need to do. If you refuse to put the ball into those sort of positions, you're never going to get that rub of the green like we just have. Ball gets played in across from Jared Bowen, and Harrison Reed trying to cover it, deflects off him really awkwardly under pressure from Mikel Antonio, and it ends up in the back of the net. Let's go. Let's flipping go. We will be taking that all day. I tell you what, Jared Bowen does well. And Reed, under a little bit of pressure from Antonio, doesn't really know how to deal with it. There's an argument it hits Soufal in the hand. I can't see how that's a handball personally. Does it hit his hand? Yes, but it's not like he means it. It bobbles up onto his hand. Jared Bowen, fair play, does really well there. Jared Bowen does really well. And then Mikel Antonio, VAR confirms it. Let's go. Let's go. And then Mikel Antonio putting pressure on that. You love to see it, ladies and gentlemen. You love to see it. There we go. It's perfect for David Moyes. This is the perfect situation. Danny Ings is still remained on for those keeping count. He is still on the pitch, but this is the perfect situation for David Moyes. Go a goal up, you take the lead, and now the way we were playing makes a lot more sense. We can calm it down. We can move forward. It's a perfect situation for us, really, if we're being honest about it. It's not going to be the most enjoyable thing in the world, but realistically, it's going to be a win. And what's more important here, it's going to be the win. No pressure whatsoever on Fulham passing it around to the back to the extent where who's that goal? Why have I forgotten their goalkeeper off the top of my head? Leno, that was it. Can come between the two centre backs about halfway into their own half and stand on the ball for at least 5 seconds without any sort of pressure on him. Palhinha plays it out wide to Cedric. Nice crisp passing from Fulham. Oh, Palhinha, so good. That crossfield pass was ridiculous. That was so good. He's going to get a move, isn't he? He's brilliant. Willian on the edge of the box looking for a shot. Straight into Zuma. And hooked away Danny Ings, who stayed on the pitch. Just giving it a little rundown now. Giving it a little rundown now. Now we can defend for 70 minutes? Yeah, basically. Basically. Tell another. I don't have any more. I have one more old lady at the wrestling story. I went to see Rev Pro, Revolution Pro Wrestling, London-based company. Do lots of shows at York Hall. They're all flipping great, and I would highly recommend them all. But I went to see a show they did at the Walthamstow, somewhere in Walthamstow. And there was a Japanese old lady who was stood just taking pictures, and she was so short that she was stood and it was the same height as everyone else taken down, and she had this insane massive camera with like a proper long lens, and she was there just taking photos the entire time. There were a couple of Japanese wrestlers on the card, which I assume so she was there, but it was just taking loads of photos. I actually have another one. There was not saying Mikel Antonio goes flying forward. This is a good opportunity to just force it. He's taken on Reed and beating him. This is the Mikel Antonio you love to see. Really good work from Mikel Antonio. Reed's caught up with him. He slowed it down a bit, but he's managed to drive the team all the way up the other end of the pitch. Soufal plays it in, no one there. A little bit over the top of everyone, but almost on it. Walthamstow 70 Halls? I think so, Arto. I think it was. All Rice from range. Never going there. I don't know why I said it was Declan Rice taking shots from range. But yeah. I think it was the Walthamstow Assembly Halls. I think. It was the place where it has this fountain in the middle, and then you have the 3 big buildings, and it was the building on the right. I think it was the Assembly Halls. That makes sense to me. Hang on, let me just blow my nose. Not fun. And then the other one, I went to see Progress Wrestling, another London-based company, at Ali Pali a couple of years ago, it's about 5 years ago now. And the man who was in the main event fighting for the world title, his mum was in the crowd recording the match on an iPad. About 10 rows behind me. She was just stood in the aisle just with an iPad like that, filming it. And I was like, I didn't figure out who it was at first until he sort of gestured to her and she gestured back. And I was like, oh, it must be his mum. And there she was just with an iPad, of all things, recording it. It's a bit concerning, Billy. I mean, the thing is the formation is working, right? The formation and the tactics right now are working. And my concern is a little bit, if we take him off, we're going to have to change formation and we're going to have to change tactics. Because again, Moyes is, and not to, I don't want to shoot shots at Moyes right now because obviously we're winning and it's not useful and that we can have fun, right? But specifically, if you're in a situation where, if you're in a situation like we are, where realistically, you have a manager who's not going to trust the youth. Mubama should be on the bench. Mubama should be able to just come on and make it happen. And yet somehow we're in a situation where it's not going to happen. I don't know. It's very frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. But so I get the want and the need to almost keep him on. And he seems to be moving a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe he isn't, but he seems to be moving a little bit better. But I also think he's going to get injured at some point. It's going to go very wrong, but we'll see. I don't know. He's got jet black hair as well. It's very weird that Elaine, how that's worked out. It's very weird how that's worked out. Holy Hearts, there are definitely places you can watch it, my friends. If you need a way to watch it, let me know. Iggy Papa Pasha 2. What a song that is, by the way. Declan Rice has a nice ball forward for Jared Bowen as the North Idaho TV network lets me down. Thankfully, I can just look at the chat. No goal. It's fine. Nothing happened, ladies and gentlemen. It was a good ball from Declan Rice, though. Good progressive passing. You can tell I've been hanging out with those Analytics United boys too much. Come on, North Idaho. You got this. You can figure it out. Let me take things off. Here we go. Okay, we're back. Hope you found a good one, Holy Cards. I can tell you for a fact they're working today as well. Also. Fulham punt it in from a free kick quite deep. Header at the back first when tossing out of Rabayo can't quite make it work. Hooked away from Angelo Ogbonna. Well, good pressure from Danny Ings does well. And somehow it's a free kick, apparently. I don't really know how that's true, but apparently it is. That felt pretty 50-50 to me. I don't know. Nah, Vince won't buy that. Vince is sticking around, isn't it? Vince is sticking around. He's back in control now. He's got no reason to do anything. It's a ridiculous situation. Anyway, played out wide, looking for Willian, nodded back across. He does well there. Willian's looking all right today, to be fair. Big ball across the top. And again, just that smartness to just head it back across goal at the first time as opposed to trying to control it and take it past someone or whip it in or something. Just bang. Nod it back across goal. He's looking dangerous. Someone to pay attention to is Fulham try to work their way forward. Oh, no. Oh, you hate to see it. I mean, look, if I was them, I would have gone and done my next full-time manager and given him basically an extra couple of months to work with the players before pre-season. That seems like the smart idea. But if they can't hire their guy, what are you going to do? You might as well go get Frank Lampard. They're not exactly going to be in danger, and at some point you just want to ruin his career even more. So fine. But he is the prime example of a guy who keeps getting opportunities to manage in the Premier League because of his name. He's rubbish. He's an awful manager. He's an awful manager. I don't get why he does it. Louis will know, first of all, my G, how are you? Louis will know, Frank Lampard, he's trash. He's trash. And I don't get how he keeps getting jobs. Because of his name. It's because of his name. That or their... No, I've got nothing else. It's just because of his name. Willian plays it centrally. Paulinia. I mean, look, Fulham have been fully in control of this game, headed away from Ogbonna. Fulham have been completely in control of this game because realistically, that's exactly our game plan, is to just give them the ball and be like, go. So that's what we're doing. We're just letting them run riot. They're not really looking dangerous. Willian's looking a bit dangerous. The crosses into the box aren't really getting anywhere close to Vinicius in the center of the box. Willian's the one player who looks like he's going to create something of note and danger. Pereira on the outside of the box, not really getting much there. I don't know. I'm not too concerned. We've been sort of playing that conservative David Moyes, give them the ball and let them do whatever the hell they want with it, and then just counter-attack vibe. It's annoyingly working today. We can't say anything else. It is annoyingly working today. We're not comfortable. It's not bad. There you go. Told you, bro. He's rubbish. He is rubbish. I don't know Mr. Leicester CM. Do you? Kiri, how dare you? He took Derby from sixth. I know. He got a Derby side who should have got promoted, not promoted. First season at Chelsea does incredibly well. Can't take that away from him. Post that, awful, rubbish. We've had one shot, one on target. The thing that went in wasn't even a shot. Let's go. I'm here for it. Like, shout out to Opta. Shout out to Opta. I ain't got no problems with you. You know that. I ain't got no problems with you. It's bold, isn't it? It's bold. There's definitely ones in the Discord, my friend. Definitely. I could tell you that for a fact. And they're working. And I have been told on good authority. Played out wide once more to Cedric, who looks to whip it in. We're maintaining a lot. We're just when you're facing a team like this who don't really seem super able to create much, just keep giving them the ball to some extent. You know, what are they going to do? I mean, we just saw that we had one shot. I think they've only had 3. And what each possession that Dean just said was 74? 74%. You know? All right. You keep going, guys. They've had 4 shots. None of them have been on target. They've had 75% possession. It's a great question, Spider. I would guess, does it count if it's an own goal? My brain says it should, but does it? But my brain says it should. I'm going to say yes. You know? That's the vibe. I'm saying yes. Yes, it does count. We've scored from open play. What a time to be alive. And no one can take that away from me. Okay? No one. Don't even try. Nice passing from Fulham in a deep area just to avoid the faint idea of a press. And then they get up the other end of the pitch where the rest of West Ham are. And yeah, not much happens. Not much happens once they get there, if we're being honest. Oh, Stephen, thank you very much, sir. Stephen with the £5, always a good show. Thank you very much, my friend, for the full-time fund. You did not have to do that at all. It's very kind of you. Very kind of you, sir. I don't think I've got one of the names. I should update the name, shouldn't I? Thank you, Stephen. Dave did one. Going for a shot from range. Never going in, but it was a bold try. There we go. Names all up. Bloody hell. Fizzed in from Anthony Robinson, of all people. Thank you once more to Stephen, Dave, Leon, Callum, and Woody. Very kind of all of you. Laid short to Anthony Robinson, who he does well. Just lays it up. Takes a turn past Jared Bowen, who sort of goes to the block. Souček trying to cover, goes in for the dive, and instead Robinson fires from it. Well over again, still. But 13th in the league. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? I mean, yeah, this is the thing. I think he's just I don't blame him for taking the Chelsea job. I think he left Derby at the right time. It was clear it was too big for him. Good to see you, Maggie. I hope you're well. I'm all right. I've got a blocked up nose as per usual. But apart from that, I'm doing all right. How are you, bro? Yeah, I think he left Derby at the right time. It was clear it just wasn't working for him there. It was too much. It wasn't happening. If he just plied his trade and learned it, it'd be fine. And I don't necessarily blame him for taking the Chelsea job when it came up. Willian again gets to the byline, crosses it away, cleared away. So crosses it in, cleared away, nodded down from Cresswell. Rice hooks it back to Fulham's centre backs. Recollect the ball, can go again. But yeah, I don't blame him for taking that job. But at the same time, after that, I blame everyone for hiring him because it's just madness. Palini, Cedric, not Palini. I keep getting those mixed up. Trying to cross it in, gets blocked, cleared away. I have finished it, Lewis. I've also been playing Mercenaries this morning. Oh, I say this morning. This afternoon, I played it for a bit, and then last night as well. It's great. It's really, really great. I'm happy that they've managed to make it good because it is very good. Ian sat on a chair bed watching in St. Lucia. How's the weather, Ian? I suspect significantly better than it is here. Although, to be fair, it's been fairly clear skies, if not a bit chilly, but it's been fairly clear skies. St. Lucia. Big vibes, Ian. Big vibes. Love that. Cedric plays the ball to Pereira, trying to find their way into the box. Possession in the last 5 minutes, 94% Fulham and 6% for us, which is a vibe. No, I do have a Twitch account, A-Top Lads. A-Top Lads my thing on everything, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all that sort of nonsense. This is A-Top Lad. I do have one which I'm planning to stream on at some point. I don't know when that will happen or what it will look like right now, Michael. I also have a wrestling channel called A-Top Mark, which is, a thing that exists and should be having videos on it at some point. But yeah, I'm too busy being depressed about West Ham. Played out wide for Fulham, looking to attack down the left-hand side. Willian, it's a nice idea to flick it through round the back of Soufal for Anthony Robinson, who has the pace to get there, but just doesn't quite make it work. That's a wild story, CM. That is a mad story. Fair play. There's someone who used to do videos on American Hammers. Who I've spoken to before, who was married to one of the Anderson sisters, as in Arn and all that. which is mad. Jimmy, I forgot. I called it. I told you I'd forget Jimmy. West Ham actually have the ball. West Ham have lost possession of the ball. Jimmy, I forgot. I knew I'd forget. Let me see if it's in my drawer here. Enemy unknown, probably. Enemy unknown, probably. I want to at some point go and play the old ones, which I haven't got around to. I've got them, but enemy unknown. What about you, Jimmy? Hang on. It's not clean. It's not clean. It's not my drawers. It's not clean. Jimmy, I'm sorry. I forgot. I knew I'd forget. I even said I'd forget at the time. But yeah, enemy unknown. What's yours, Jimmy? Fornals down the left-hand side. Tries to put it in. Deflects off him. It's going to be a goal kick. Newcastle just passing the ball around casually at the back. Thank you, Michael. It's very kind of you, sir. You don't have to at all. It's very kind of you. I always get massively shocked when anyone subscribes to any of my YouTube channels or follows me on Twitch or whatever, given how much of an idiot I am. I massively appreciate it. Rumham. Yes, Tuna. Let's go. Rumham. I was watching Always Sunny last night. XCOM 2. XCOM 2 is a banger, to be fair. XCOM 2 is really good. I like the pressure on the system, the turn-based systems, to try and force you out of just turtling in the sort of like go forward, Overwatch, go forward, Overwatch, go forward, Overwatch. I like the fact they force you out of that. I also like the fact that you can ambush people in that as well. That's really cool. I like XCOM 2 a lot. XCOM 2 is really good. North Idaho TV network has gone back to 43 minutes. That's a fun time. Well, we'll keep it there just in case. just in case any of the other channels, as it were. Yeah, the amount of times I run out of time. I'm too I can't help it. I'm too scared. If Louis was still in the chat, better, because he'd be able to get fully involved in this conversation. Louis is a big XCOM person as well. Let's keep going. Trying to find anything at this point. I probably don't have to. Geo's here. Geo, you're all right. How are you?
Mate, this is horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, we're winning.
It's exactly what we thought it would be, right? It's exactly what we thought.
I don't know, Charlie. I think somehow it's even worse. I was expecting bad. This is awful. I mean, this is just so bad.
Once we went 1-0 up, I was like, right, well, this is exactly what it's going to be, and it suits us to do that. I think if we weren't 1-0 up, it probably wouldn't be as bad as this, I guess. But the fact we got the goal means we have the luxury of just doing it. And to be fair, it's not like Fulham are doing anything that major with the ball. It is just
Fabianski hasn't been busy, has he? I will say that. We are sort of digging in deep, and the defence is playing well. They are protecting Fabianski well. We are winning, but that's where the positives stop, unfortunately. But the other slight positive is there's scope to change it at halftime if he wishes to. If he wants to change it, which I hope he does, there's plenty of options on the bench available to him to do various different things, because the football is horrific. We just cannot keep the ball, and you can't play like that for a whole 45 minutes in the second half. You can't. You at some point that goal will come. Fulham will get a breakthrough somehow, but just pure numbers more than anything. We're fortunate to be 1-0 up, but I'll take it at this point, Charlie. If we perform like that in the second half and win, it will be like the Southampton one. I'm pleased we've won. I'll be relieved we've won, but flipping hell, this is just it's bad.
I mean, you said it, right? You said it in the build-up. You were talking about how we're just going to bypass the midfield today. That's what it is. I mean, it's 4-4-2. That's what it is. We're just defending, and then we're just going to pump it long. And I was, that's the thing. Is it's the idea is working. That's the frustrating part about it. This isn't the plan going awry. This isn't, oh my god, what the heck's going on? This is the plan. And it's going to plan.
He'll be happy. Moyes will be happy. We're 1-0 up, and Fabianski's had nothing to do. He'll be delighted at the minute. His team selection at the minute at halftime is justified because we were 1-0 up, and Fabianski's had very little to do. He won't care about entertainment. Moyes will not care about how well we play or who plays well. It's just about 3 points, and I get it. To some extent, I'm a bit like that as well, but it's just horrific to watch. It's not enjoyable in the slightest. But this is where we are at this point of the table, this point of the season. It'll have to do to source this. I almost feel bad complaining because we are winning, and if we can get 3 points, then flipping out, that'd be massive for us, especially with Wolves currently leading against Chelsea at the minute. Leicester look like they're in trouble for us. They're currently drawing at Villa, but you'd hope Villa would up the game in the second half. But if we can win and 2 or 3 teams around us can lose this weekend, it'll be a big weekend for us. It will give us a big boost. But that's all it does. It's just the points that give us the boost. You will not feel any better because of the performance, which is frustrating.
Yeah. Also, it's not even just that his usual starts, which you're right is 100%. The points matter more than the performance, right? It's also that's his job on the line now. He either gets a result or he gets fired. So obviously, it doesn't really matter what the performance is as long as he gets the result. He gets the result. Anyway, I shall be back in a moment, Geo. Try and enjoy yourself at half time if you can.
Cheers, Charlie. Right, everybody, let me see what you are saying. Let's get it into the live chat. Let's get your thoughts in. James says Fanals is all right. Souček's not playing too well. Eddie said that's short term without good play. Well, let's see what you say. DS says Fulham are struggling because we're doing what all the smaller clubs did against us last year. Sit back, counter. Clubs below the top 6 don't have the players to break teams down that sit deep. I think that's a very fair comment. Yank fan says we need Cornet and Ben Rama, get some pace and possession. And Major says Clinton Morrison suggesting that Leicester have played awful at the minute as they're 1-0 down to Bournemouth. Billing with the goal over there. We're allowed 5 subs, Pollinator. You're allowed to stop the game 3 times, but 5 subs. David says he wants it to be July. We're still in Premier League. Moyes is a memory. We can look forward to a new season. The coming weeks and games are painful. Charlie is not enjoying the game too much. I don't think he said he hates the club. I think that is a suggestion that he's perhaps not enjoying what he's seen in the first 45. Frank says we start parking the bus, get Cornet on for Ings, Ben Rama for Niles, Downs for Souček. We need possession and pushing up the pitch. David says there's a Moyes out banner in the way end. A couple of people told me there was going to be some banners today. I hadn't spotted that, David, so thank you very much. Brody said, was it an own goal? It was. I know it's the most own goal you'll ever see. It wasn't even like a wild deflection. It was a own goal. Ionic said Reid has given him a job so far. He's never going to earn one. Graham says we desperately need an out ball. Ings off, Cornet on to link up Antonio. We do need subs. Brooke, Devin, Bond says, what changes would you make? There's 2. Ings coming off is the first sub I would make. And then you've got to decide what you want to do, really, haven't you? You've got the possibilities of Downs and Lanzini. If your aim is to get possession in the second half, then I think Lanzini or Downs would be your substitution. If you want to increase your threat on the counter attack, but also you're probably going to have to put up the same levels of possession in the second half, then probably Cornet or Ben Rama would be your sub for him. The second substitute would be Thomas Souček and try and do both. So I think I would take Ings off for probably Ben Rama. I'm inclined to say Cornet because of what he would give going forward with that pace, but I think Benrahma would be better off dropping back in like what Antonio is trying to do at times. I think Benrahma would be more suited than Cornet at doing that. And I would also probably bring on probably Downs for Souček. We need better possession in the second half, and we need more possession in the second half. It's a big ask on the defence to sit and defend for 45 minutes. It's a huge ask. Scott says Fornals has been showing why he's on the bench. He's been awful. Alan says we're winning is dreadful, but I don't mind as long as it's 1-0. Gary says we're playing with 9 men as Ings and Souček are passengers. Tim says I get we need more possession, but not feeling threatened. When we do attack, I feel like something might happen. I feel okay. I get that. I don't disagree with you there, Tim. Like I said, Fabianski's been untested, but I just think when you give a team as much of the ball as we're giving Fulham, something's probably going to happen sooner rather than later. And well, you're asking for trouble. Mancunian said not something Ings is bizarre. He's clearly injured. Honestly, he's just dragging his leg around the pitch, isn't he? Rodo says Souček needs to be subbed off immediately. Jack says we need to keep the ball better and have more possession. Let's get that second goal. Graham is comparing it to Allardyce ball, but without the charm or panache. Paul said there's no positivity to take into Thursday night's game in European football against Ghent. They'll be chomping at the bit to have a go at us, and if they do, they will more than likely stick a couple past us. Artel would like to see Ings off for Cornet. Uncle saying this is rubbish. Months training, millions spent. Moyes out. Just Matt says we don't mind Antonio or Ings off for Cornet. Cornet playing the front two gives us pace. Jordan said I remember doing this against Chelsea a few years ago with Allardyce in charge. Moyes will claim he out-tacticked Silva if he wins. Kiyossi says Caswell, Souček and Ings off. We're getting dominated in possession and they're not doing enough to regain it. Ings looks injured. Ings is injured. I mean, it could have been more obvious. He took ages to get up and then he was complaining at Polina. He's been limping around. You could have made it more obvious he's injured. That's the worst thing. George said this is arguably a worse performance in Newcastle. We're just against a worse team and being testless. I actually agree with that. At least against Newcastle, we had 15 minutes of good play. We've had about one and it led to the goal. Constantine, thank you very much for the $5 New Zealand dollars. He said, will you stick on sacking Moyes considering West Ham get closer and closer to European? Yes, I will. Even if we win it and we stay up, I would still like Moyes to leave in the summer. And he will go a bit of a hero for winning the trophy. He will do that. He will, in 20, 30 years' time, we will look back at David Moyes fondly. I think for the foreseeable future, I don't think that will happen. But as time goes on, you do look at things fondly. It's like ex-players. When ex-players leave, you're kind of glad they've left. Give it a couple of years, you look back, you think actually they're quite a good player for us. It's a bit like Pedro Obiang. Like, I think Obiang was average, but the longer he's away from West Ham, sort of the better he seems to get within the fan base, if that makes sense. In my opinion, anyway. It's a bit like players that don't play week in, week out. They get better when they're out of the team because the team's not performing well. You start to think that player needs to come in, and you almost think they're better. I'm talking rubbish, haven't I? But that's how I always see things, so I'll shut up now. David said we need a midfield game. Second half, we must have better possession. Charlie says Corret's the answer, so I can't wait for 1-1 equaliser. Then 80 minutes, Moyes changes the centre backs. Alan says no team has won a game with less than 23% possession in Premier League history. Moyes went flipping out. Can you imagine having that as a record? I think I'd almost be embarrassed if that was, like, as a manager, I think I'd almost be embarrassed if I was the one that held that record. Lewis says, this is David Moyes going full David Moyes. I don't buy that these are the right tactics because we're winning and I fear Moyes will stick with this. Of course he will. If we win, of course he's sticking with this. Holmes says, awful. Just defending the own goal from the moment it went in. Wouldn't surprise me if he takes off Antonio and Ings and brings on a Gerton Johnson at half-time. He's got options. If he puts out the same 11 in the second half, it's beggars belief. Ings is literally dragging his leg around the pitch. I mean, at times he does run when we go forward, but he just looks broken. And even when he's not broken, the game's so stretched. As soon as we went 1-0 up, Ings almost became redundant in our team because we've now been able to switch to even more counter-attacking. We were playing direct or trying to play direct. We've gone even more counter-attacking. Ings he's not pacey enough. I mean, at times we have got near the box. He has been in it. But there will be times in the second half where Bowen might just go screaming down that right-hand side and Ings won't be in the 18-yarder in time because he's just not quick enough. I think Ings needs to come off at halftime. Roger says this team and performance reminds us why we needed 200 million of investment. Shame Moyes had no clue what to do with this signings. Hammer Time says Ings is another player that offers very little unless we create chances, while Lewis wants to see Kone on, him and Antonio to hit them on the counter. It would work well. I agree with that. I think Kone for Ings is the obvious substitution. Dean agrees. He says Ings and Souček offer Kone and Downs is obvious. I agree with that. James said, I like that when we attack, we get players in the box, but that's about everything I like about what I have seen. Anthony said Moyes is resting players for the conference game on Thursday, like a Gerd and Emerson. He did mention that. I saw a clip of his interview before the game, and he sort of mentioned it a little bit, that he wanted to freshen things up. But I don't know if that was maybe just a way of saying I've dropped players, but I don't want to offend them. Omega said Obiang was better than Such. Oh, I'm not comparing the two, don't you worry. AS says the same as well. Here you go. Here's someone with a good example. Ibas says, Nolan was that player. Hated him in his last couple of years, but now I love him in hindsight. You do, don't you? Once emotions remove, you start to look back at people maybe a little bit more fondly than perhaps you did when they were there. Adam says, it's embarrassing. How can you go from that last couple of seasons to playing the worst football in the league? Sumo says we've been begging for Moyes to play two up front for months, and now we're still moaning. Yeah, but I've not seen anyone beg for two up front with Souček in midfield and Pablo Fornals on the left wing. I've not really seen anyone ask for that. I get your point. I know you're only joking, Sumo, but Matt says he fears that Moyes will treat this as a let's make sure we get at least a draw. If we consider hold on for the point. I can't disagree with that, which actually worries me. Colin would put Kone on for Ings, have him and Antonio run the channels when needed, and can have Souček running in the middle if they pull wide. I like it. Hockwell, we have to make changes now. We have to get more possession. Kone and Downs are a must. I think a lot of people want to see the same substitutions here. And while you're watching this, please do subscribe to Hammer's Chat. Click that red subscribe button and drop a like on the video. It helps the channel out. Mr. Walsh, back over to you.
Yeah, Cornet. I like the idea of Cornet.
He's got to come on for Ings. Ings is broken. I was just saying to them that when we went 1-0 up, Ings almost became redundant. We were able to play more counter-attacking football, and that doesn't suit Ings whatsoever. He's injured as well. I think it's an easy sub for Moyes to make, even if he only wants to do one at halftime. Personally, we'd like to see Downs for Souček, but even if he's a bit reluctant with that one, the Kone for Ings is an obvious substitution. I would understand Ben Rama as well, because he'd probably be better at dropping back to help out midfield too. Because Antonio and Ings are struggling to stop Reed/Polina. So Rice and Souček, they've got Pereira there, but they're also struggling to get up and help. The second striker needs to be dropping back a little better than they have been in the first half. So I think Kone for Ings is such an easy substitution to do, such an obvious one, I think, as well. Fulham have made a sub. Solomon's
come on, hasn't he?
Yeah, he worries me. I like him.
And Tom Kearney, I think, as well. I think that's what that is.
He doesn't worry me as much. He'll take off Harrison Reed. Harrison Reed will be one of the ones that goes off, and possibly Reed, maybe Vinicius, and put Reed up front.
Yeah, and I don't think West Ham made any changes from what I saw anyway.
Kearney's actually quite a clever sub thinking about it, because we're playing so deep. They're now going to have a bit of a playmaker in centre midfield, somebody that can actually start trying to pick holes in our defence from 30 yards out, rather than Reed's not very offensive. He's very good defensively. They don't need that anymore, so they're taking him off, putting Kearney on, someone that can perhaps unlock that West Ham defence. Now they're going to have a creative player sitting in front of Rice and Souček. So good moves from Silva, actually, I have to say. I think it depends who's come off, but I imagine it'll be Reed and probably Vinicius, possibly Reed. Maybe both Reeds have gone off, but
fair. Well, Gio, thank you very much. I shall see you at full time for the review, my friend. But I appreciate
thank you very much. Cheers.
If you want to see more of Geo Mackie and someone who actually knows what they're talking about, then I would highly recommend you stick around until full time, when they will be live with their match review. However, we are back underway at Craven Cottage. It's West Ham United 1, Fulham 0. Come on, you Irons. Deploy the boys. It's time to run to Tig's. Same lineup from West Ham. They have, of course, made a substitute. They've made 2 substitutions at halftime, Fulham. We have made none. We'll see I'm not surprised David Moyes hasn't done any substitutes, because again, as Gio said, he'll be thinking this is working for me, even though evidence suggests otherwise. He'll think he'll be happy with this, whereas Fulham changing up sort of makes a little bit of sense as well. Like Gio said, bring on Kearney, you can control the game a little bit more, given the fact we're just giving them the ball. They might as well do that. And Fulham starting bright. Danny Ings getting back and getting a block, doing some defensive work. Ginge, good to see you, my friend. Thoughts of WrestleMania Rome retaining? I'll talk about it in a second. Harrison Reed and Dokodover Reed were the two who came off for Kearney and Solomon. It's a corner kick to Fulham. They take it short. Back out to Willian, who's going to go one-on-one versus Fornals. It's whipped in by Cedric. Vinicius Rose at the back post. Can't quite make it work. Declan Rice hooks it away. Ish. Back in towards the box. Souček battles for it, wins the header. And then comes away with the ball and just a big hoof up the pitch to Mikel Antonio. Can't quite do anything with it. Can't quite do anything with it. Jimmy, if you're here, by the way, I went and found it. It was on the error. I went and found it. It was on the error. Who scored? It was an own goal by Reed, who's just come off. By Harrison Reed, who's just come off. Fulham own goal. Fulham own goal. Jared Bowen on the right-hand side hooked it back across, straight into the path of Reed, who can't stop itself, stumbles over it. It's in. Fulham, once again. I mean, the match has started exactly how you would expect it to have started in the second half. The answer is the same. The answer is the same. Fulham are once again in complete control of the ball, and we are just sitting, waiting for them to give it to us, basically. And then when they do, we just punt it along at Mikel Antonio and hope for the best. Looking forward once again, Fulham. Out wide to Willian. Pereira whips it in. Straight into the hands of Fabianski. We'll take. That's the hope, bro. That's the hope. That's the hope. Vigilo Confido and all that, you know. Ginge, I liked night 1. Night 2, I thought was still good and enjoyable. I do not understand for the life of me why they've had him retain. Unless it's a business decision, then I don't get it. Because it makes no sense to me. The other was the thing. Him retaining against Drew and him retaining against Sammy, which both felt like good times to do it, made sense to me. This one doesn't. And I'm like... But then again, Vince is back in control, so God knows. Sense is out the window. Sense is out the window. Fulham coming forward. Thomas Souček trying to get his foot in there. Little nudge. Manages to put it onto the path of Zuma, who finds Rice. Puts Cresswell into a very dodgy position, but he didn't really have any options, to be fair to Declan Rice. So Fulham once more have the ball. I need to blow my nose. I can hear the bunged up nature of my nose right now. Oh, there we go. I can breathe a little bit better now. What a time to be alive. Collingwood, that is a banger. Oh, if Moyes played XCOM 2, he'd fail all the missions by not pushing forward. Niche, and I love it. Niche, and I love it. He'll hold until WrestleMania 40. Yeah, Paul, that's my concern. I wouldn't mind it if he was doing literally anything different, but it's the same thing we've been seeing for the last year, it feels like. Long, slow, good matches which end in some screwy sort of finish. It's like, fine, but just do literally anything else. I'm a bit bored of that now. Solomon finds the path of Pereira. Fulham are passing it around okay. But again, it's when they try to create anything to the box, we're just there. Just every single person just locked in, you know? Locked in. Not for the AEW talk. That was WWE. We can talk on AEW if you want. Fulham get to the area, they get to the position where they could cross the ball, and there's just so many people in the box that there's no space for them to really pass their way in. You can cross it in, but their crosses today have been all over the shop. I don't think they've hit their target once, and Vinicius isn't exactly a danger in the air compared to Zuma and Ogbonna. So from a defensive standpoint, it's going well for David Moyes. It's annoying. It's really, really annoying. I want to see maybe Cornet. That's the first person I want to see. I'm thinking about it. I'm looking at what we need. I want someone who can get on the board, drive us forward. Because right now, what's happening? I mean, we should have that in theory of Jared Bowen, but shot from Fulham from very far away, but easy into the hands of Fabianski, who throws it nice and quick to Soufal. He hasn't got the pace to beat Anthony Robinson. Shock. Fulham with a free kick. I think it's one of these things where defensively, look, this is working, but how do you, from a David Moyes perspective, how can you get forward and do something more? How can you get forward and do something more without really sacrificing any of the defensive solidity we've seen and the defensive structure we've seen? And the answer is you can't really. That you could bring on, say, for example, Cornet. I think Cornet is the one thing that you could change realistically. You could change Cornet out for probably Fornals, I guess. I don't want Fornals to come off. I would like Fornals to stay on personally, but I think that's potentially the answer. Someone who has the ability to pick up the ball and drag it forward with pace. Good defender from Kurt Zuma cuts that cross out again. Once more crossed in again from Fulham. Can't quite find it. Because the thing is with Ben Rama's another obvious one, right? But Ben Rama doesn't have the defensive side of his game. So whatever you do for Ben Rama, you're going to let go of some defensive solidity. So that's what I'm saying from Moyes' perspective. You know? Because from a Charlie perspective, it's quite obvious. You change the formation. You make a couple of changes. You probably put Fornals in the middle. You take Souček off. You take I don't know. Take Souček off. You put probably Corner, I would suspect. You take maybe Danny off. You put on Ben Rama. You could change up the formation. You could do a bunch of things. Lanzini's another good shout. Would he keep the ball a bit better? From a Charlie Walsh perspective, it's very obvious and very easy thing to do. Two up top just isn't going to do anything for us right now. It's just not happening. We're hoping. This is the problem. This has always been the problem with David Moyes, right? Apart from a very brief spell for 6 months last season, maybe. This has always been the problem for David Moyes. The goal is to keep it tight and then pump it long and then hope Mikel Antonio does magic. Or previously, hope Arnautovic does magic, right? That's the goal here. That's all it is. The one difference is we have Danny Ings standing sort of next to Mikel Antonio. Hopefully he can pick stuff up on the other end. That's the problem here. So we need to do something. From a David Moyes perspective, that will be the thought process. How can we keep the defensive solidity that's stopping them from doing anything while also being able to attack a bit more? Cornet is the one real change I think you can make. Bloody hell. Cresswell and Ogbonna getting in each other's way there. It's going to be a corner. Fired up Fulham. Going to blow my nose. Oh. Oh. Pain. Corner comes to nothing. Played all the way back from Fulham. Getting bunged up again instantaneously. That's the thing, CW. No matter how good we got it, at best with Moyes, he was never convinced to put a ring on it. I think the thing is I used to say this a lot about David Moyes when he first came back and when it was going well. I'd always sort of maintained my stance on the issue, which is one, I don't want him here long term, but two, I think the idea of Fornals forced to go backwards, but we at least have the ball in Fulham's half and there's people forward. Awful from mixture. Declan Rice and Mikel Antonio pairing up to do something as awful as I've ever seen. That was just crap. It was just pointless. Jarrod Bowen battling well, does well. Danny Ings is in the centre, just ahead of him. Find Danny Ings. Find Danny Ings. He does. Ings! Oh, I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell. It was one of those ones where the camera angle, I couldn't tell whether he's dinked him over or not. Danny Ings so close. That's such a good opportunity. Jarrod Bowen works his butt off there to get that ball, nips off Willian, who's an awful pass, and then charges forward. Then a lovely ball through to Danny Ings. He maybe could have let it go slightly sooner to Ings in a slightly better position, but the pass is still really nice. Ings one-on-one with Leno, and Leno just makes himself big enough to stop it. Flipping heck. Close. Now Fulham come up the other end. Anthony Robinson looking to try and put the ball in. It's over the top of everyone. And Aaron Cresswell's just going to hoof this one away. And to be fair, it was a long ball. It wasn't a hoof. It was a long ball. And Mikel Antonio did well there. Wins a throw-in off tossing. We'll take that. Yeah, it was a good save. Came out, got himself big, stopped it from happening. Yeah. Jesus Christ, just watching that confusion between Ogbonna and Cresswell there. It's dangerous, scary. Not in my opinion, Tommy. Not in my opinion, Johnny. Feel free. People can feel free to disagree with me, but I don't think so. But I've never thought two up top's never been the answer for me. We struggle to build up anyway. I don't see what the logic would be if taking another midfielder out and putting him up front is going to solve that problem. The problem isn't that. The problem is the build-up. Everything before the striker is the issue, in my opinion. Double change. The commentator is saying Fornals and Ings are going to come off, and there seems to be a double change in the offing. Robinson looks to try and whip the ball in. Nodded down. Can't quite make it work. Vinicius or Pereira to turn. Big shout for handball. Again, for me, no, it was way too close. It wasn't a purposeful handball. We could try and cross the ball. Can't. Hooked away from Thomas Souček. Mikel Antonio trying to find the ball. He's battling for it. Mikel Antonio over the last couple of years, that's been his entire thing. It's just the ball sort of lofted sort of vaguely towards him and he's expected to make magic out of it. It's ridiculous, isn't it, really? Pereira looking for the shot, blocked. Now West Ham can counter. This is a good opportunity. Danny Ings coming forward. We've got. He just wasted a little bit too much time there, Danny Ings. Finds Antonio, who doesn't try to run at his man. He just sort of stands still and waits for options. And we end up going backwards. That was awful. That was a really good opportunity to counter-attack him. We just don't do anything with it. It's bad, isn't it, Ross? It's bad. It's bad. I wish I had an Easter egg. Otherwise, I'd fully get involved. Anthony Robinson trying to defend against Jarrod Bowen. Good pressure. But it doesn't quite work out. Fornal's battling for it, does well. Souček is the one who ends up getting the touch to take the ball away. West Ham could come away with it here. Mikel Antonio is going to be a free kick. He takes a shot, a pointless shot, and it is what it is. That double sub going to be in a second. Bell time. The people call for it. I can understand the logic. Yeah, that's not. We're looking at the penalty shout, but it's nowhere near a penalty for me. It comes flying at Cresswell from super close. Well, Fornals is the first one who's coming off. Downs and Benrahma are coming on. I think we've seen the logic of trying to maintain some sort of defensive solidity here. He's taking off Danny Ings as well. Formation change in the offing. Danny Ings, who almost got a goal. Good block from Leno. Danny Shaking head, doesn't know what he can do. Fornals and Ings coming off for Flynn Downs and Saeed Ben Rama. There aren't enough calls for Bells, so we'll lob that poll in chat now. Simple question. Bell, yes or no? You check, can't quite find the ball forward. I'll give the Bell poll until 62 minutes. There was at some point a super chat. I don't know when it was. Colston, will you stick on Saka Moyes considering West Ham getting closer and closer to the European title? I assume that was during halftime with Geo, because obviously I don't bet. So I assume that's what it was. My think is Geo probably would not put a bet on that. But Colston, my nose is destroying me. Thank you very much for the super chat, for the full-time fund, my friend. I only saw it because I looked in the back end. Otherwise I wouldn't have seen it. I didn't even mean to look in the back end. I just clicked on the tab by accident. But thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Ooh, Vinicius. Vinicius has just kicked Kurt Zuma there. Kurt Zuma's gone in. Vinicius is very angry about the way he's gone down. Vinicius, who's holding his ankle as if he's super hurt for a second, then kicks kicks Zuma. Who am I? David God kicks Kurt Zuma while he's down. He's got a yellow card for it. That should be a red, if we're being honest. That should probably be a red. I strongly agree with people who are saying that in the chat. You can't do that. I think that's a red card. Personally, I think that's a red card. He's just studsed him. He's just, while he was down, studsed him. And he's looked back at him angrily as well. I'm not sure how that's a yellow card, personally. I think that should be a red. The poll chat is done. The bell poll even is done. 77% said yes. So I should be going and picking one up now. That's surely a red. That's surely a red. Just I don't know how it is. I don't know how it isn't. I'll be back in a second. Back in a second. Oh, tell you what, it's a new net, so I'll just go on. Can't be asked to try and open the net when the football match is on. Oh, bloody hell. This is close from Fulham and cleared away from, I think that's Angelo Ogbonna gets the clearance. Flipping heck. I come back and all of a sudden it's all kicking off. I got a fever. I do sort of have that tone to my voice, don't I? I do sort of have that tone to my voice. I had to bring them all. This is a brand new net. Bought fresh the day before yesterday. Willian on the ball. Pereira plays it out to Palhinha. Fulham trying to work their way forward. Suchek misses the header. It's just above him, but Vinicius can't quite get there. First half possession stats for Fulham was 78%. So far in the second half, it's 77%. So we've gained a percentage of possession, ladies and gentlemen. What an exciting time. Silent snack. Here it is. I'm just going to get it straight in there. There's been a lot of preamble for this, so this one's just going straight in, no messing. This is not good for the old nasal passage. I feel like cheese is going to bung me up more. I don't know if that's true. It's just how I feel. Cross from Robinson, straight into the hands of Fabianski, and now West Ham can counter-attack down the left. Cresswell finds Flynn Downs, who's instantly fouled. Free kick. Free kick. The bell has been consumed, ladies and gentlemen. The bell has been consumed. I think that's probably a fair point, Woody. I can't lie. I think that's probably a fair point that other people would agree with. I mean, Geo said much of the same, just worded differently at half time, to be fair. Tete coming on for Fulham. Probably for Cedric. Cedric's been crap, to be fair. Cresswell's going to cross the ball in from a free kick. Big men in there. Souček, Zuma, Ogbonna. It is towards Zuma. Can't quite angle it towards a goal. And it's going to be a goal. Not, in my opinion. A good cross, if anything. Just can't quite get on the end of it. Oh, Tete is coming on for Fulham now. Just Cedric. Off goes Cedric. He was rubbish. See you later. My God. My God. Played forward, looking for Antonio. Dinks it in, headed away from tossing. West Ham a little bit further forward now. Stufal just hoofing it for some reason. And Rama can't get good of control. Neither can Solomon. It's going to be a throw into West Ham in a advanced area. Holtby's well out of time. No fear, Jim. No fear. Cresswell with a throw on the left-hand side. Then Rama tries to hook it in. Cresswell pulled back. It's going to be a free kick in the corner quadrant. In the corner quadrant. In the corner quadrant. I'm sorry. It's going to be a free kick in the corner quadrant. Just Tete just pulling Cresswell back. It's one of those ones where it's a free kick and it's just a bit crap, but it is what it is. But it's basically a corner opportunity here. Declan Rice is the one who's going to step up to take it, which is a choice. All the big people back in the box. Two-0 would make this significantly better for us. It would make it very nice and calm. At that point, it's a definite win. Rice. Well, that's why I don't think he should be on free kicks and corners, because it was a bit pointless. Anyway, we move. Second corner of the game for West Ham. Here it comes. Get hyped. It's coming in now, ladies and gentlemen. Here comes the cross. West Ham set piece masters. First man is what it hits. Oh, an overhead kick in the midst of all that from Ogbonna? Ogbonna hit an overhead kick which went out for a throw, if you're keeping count. But my God, Angelo Ogbonna, out of nowhere. Nah, they've not been our friends for a long time, to be fair. It was a bold choice. The answer was first man is where it went, but you know. Fulham can come away with it. 20 minutes to go. This is a good counter-attacking opportunity for Fulham. We've still got the numbers, but they have people forward. Willian on the left-hand side plays it on the overlap to Robinson. It was a bad choice. He should have taken it and maybe crossed it or gone side. It's gone endwards. Gone inwards. The opportunity was there. It was open, but he doesn't take it. They do with a throw in, so it's not completely lost. Not a complete loss for Fulham, but the counter-attacking opportunity when we are at our weakest, when there is no one there, is gone. And we now ask the question once more to Fulham to try and find the space. And the answer is they won't be able to. We've got about another 20 minutes of this until we can all get on with our lives. Kearney wins a free kick against Sufal. Because it's not going to change, is it? Let's be real. This is going to be exactly the same. Don't really know how that's a foul, but there we go. It is what it is. This live chat subscribers only. It is. Unless Geo didn't set it up that way today, it is. It's going to be 20 minutes of absolutely pointless football, by the way. Like, I'm calling it now. Nothing's going to happen. Fulham will get a couple of close chances. We'll maybe get one sort of half chance. That's it. Nothing will happen. It'll end 1-0. Bob's your uncle. You know? Gloria's your aunt. No stress. We move on. Like, this is the game now. This is where we're at. It's going to be nothing. It's a nothing-y game. Whipped in. Header away from Kurt Zuma. Zuma just came across and was just like, pow! No messing with the head. The weird... There is a weird like filter over one of the cameras that puts it in a really odd way. Fabianski looking for a counter-attacking throw. Rice loses out to Kenny. That's going to be a free kick. Rice knew it was. He stopped and pulled it back. It's going to be a yellow card. It's as obvious as you like. It's as obvious as you like. Declan Rice shakes his head, but it was a stupid thing to do. Tom Kearney did really well there, by the way, to just take that ball away from Declan Rice. And then Declan Rice tries to get around him, just shoves him to the ground. It's always going to be a yellow card. It's always going to be a foul. Not really much you can say about it, is there? Yeah, it's monkey's paw. It's monkey's paw stuff, Woody. You know? You can ask, but you'll get it as and when he wants. You should distribute it quicker. Not now. You know? I'll be honest with you. I'm not even nervous, mate. I'm not even nervous. This has got some old school feel about it, you know? This has got big old school David Moyes cleared away from Sufal. This has got big old school beginning of the watch-alongs feel to it, right? Where we had David Moyes at the beginning, and he was playing basically this exact same style of football, and we weren't really conceding any shots of any note or any chances of any note. We were defensively very strong. Offensively, we didn't have a single thing. I sit here and I know people are going to, this is a thing that stresses people out. I'm just not scared. I'm not nervous. I'm not nothing at this stage because I'm fairly certain this will end 1-0. I'm not really concerned they're going to score. They've barely been able to create as it was. You're trying to find a way forward here, head away from Kurt Zuma. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. Up to 30 versus 97 points clear of Southampton. It's a huge win. It's a huge win. Whether you give David Moyes credit or not, I think is a different question, right? I think realistically, I think even the most ardent Moyes fans would say at the end of this season, he goes. I think that's just where we're at. I think if there were now, the problem is what do the board say? But also, equally, to some extent, the board might not be here, you know? And once the board go, then all of a sudden we change the way we do business. But as of now, I'm fairly certain that Moyes will go at the end of the season. However, if we're being real about it, it's difficult to care. We're in an awful holding pattern right now, where short term we're screwed because we have David Moyes in charge for the short term, and long term we're screwed because we have David Sullivan in charge of everything else. I think realistically, by the way, they've had 10 more shots than us. We've had 4. They've had 14. We still both just had 2 shots on target. Realistically, we're screwed in long term because of David Sullivan. Now, once David Sullivan goes, all of the questions around this change. Because would another owner have kept David Moyes in a job for this long? I don't think they would have. So at that point, everything changes. Now, will we get a new owner in the summer? I don't think so. I think it's going to take longer than that. However, having said that, that is clearly on the horizon. Ben Rama charging forward. There's a really good opportunity. Shot from range, well wide. 5th shot. Scenes. He does well there. Pressure from Declan Rice on Kenny Tete. Forces the error. Flynn Downs getting involved in that as well. Straight into the path of Ben Rama, who charges forward. Very, very wide, that shot. It wasn't even remotely close. Very disappointing from Ben Rama there, I'm not going to lie. Awful. Anyway, yeah, I just, like I say, then it becomes a different story. Because if we have a different owner, then realistically, David Moyes will probably be gone by now. If we have a different owner, David Moyes could keep us up, and David Sullivan might have the vibe of keeping him, but a different owner probably wouldn't. So we're in this sort of horrendous holding pattern where we're just waiting for people to leave at this point. Fulham trying to work their way forward, dink it across to the right-hand side. That's a really nice dink pass. Cross, Tete's cross is into a good area. There's just no one there, and then a header from Tom Kearney on the edge of the area. High and wide. Yeah, definitely. We've had just as strong opportunities as they have to score. Should be two. Poor decisions. Yeah, of course I would. He wouldn't come here though. I've been very adamant about this from the start, Nick. There was zero chance of us ever getting Pochettino during the season. We might have been able to convince him on the off season, maybe, but even then, I think it's highly unlikely. Pochettino's in his prime as one of the best, as a top tier manager. He's in his prime. There's zero chance of him coming to West Ham. Bowen charging forward, can't quite find the pass out wide to, I think, Ben Rama, but we're in a corner. But would I take him, bro? In a heartbeat, in an absolute heartbeat. Antonio tries to nod it onto Bowen well, who's charging, and I probably would have wanted him to cut inside there. He's tried to play it in. We've won a corner from it, but Bowen to take it. Corner from the right-hand side. In swinger. In. No one can get their head on it. Quite Zuma a little bit head in his hands for a second there. Hooked back towards goal by Bonner, nodded away from Fulham, who are going to want to try a counter-attack here. Well, they've done well to find that ball forward, but instantly West Ham have the numbers back. Kearney finds Pereira out wide. Solomon, Robinson, cross straight into the hands of Fabianski. Thank you very much. He'll be very happy to just collect that one and wait as long as humanly possible. And then we go again. Yeah, I don't want him to come on. The answer is because David Moyes thinks this is working, is the answer. But I would like him to come on. I really want to see more of Cornet. I thought Cornet's been one of the bright spots of the last couple of games. Whenever Cornet's come on since coming back from injury, he's looked really bright and at it and sharp. Maybe not sharp, but like up for going quickly, which is nice. Running with the ball, taking people on, that kind of stuff. You know. Kenny tried to cross the ball in, headed away. Headed back towards goal for Fulham, looking to try and work their way in. There's no one there. Hooked away from Soufal. Back towards goal go Fulham. Could be a free kick. Referee doesn't blow his whistle. Play continues. Question from Pereira why that wasn't a free kick. Fulham still have the ball in the meantime. Solomon, wide on the right-hand side. Nice dribbling from Solomon. No foul, he says. I quite like Solomon, to be honest. And a free kick for Michail Antonio there. I quite like Solomon. I'm not going to lie. I think he's pretty good. He picks up the ball wide on the left-hand side, takes it in, takes the ball past Ben Rama and looks to go inside of Flynn Downs. He goes down very easy. He sort of tries to buy that one going into Flynn Downs. He goes down incredibly easy. It's no free kick. Referee was completely correct. It's a great shout. Outside of the dive he's just done, I quite like Solomon. Outside of the dive he's just done. Yeah, that. Hope you are. Thank you, James. Got a cold, but apart from that, I'm good. How are you? If Moyes goes now at the end of the season, do the likes of Paqueta? If Moyes goes now or at the end of the season, do the likes of Paqueta and Skamaka, etc., leave because they don't like the club and how it's run because of the owners? I doubt either of them will leave. If we get relegated, then they're straight out the door. I doubt either of them leave because we've got such a huge summer coming up. There's going to be a lot of changes going in. There's going to be a corner for West Ham whipped in. Zuma attacking it, gets his head on it, but it's straight into the hands of Leno. Bounces down and no real power to it. But yeah, I doubt either of them will leave just because. Oh, off of Antonio. Oh, again, Leno save. Offside against Mikel Antonio, but incredibly close there. Incredibly close. Great interception from Declan Rice, wide on the right-hand side. Dribbles part forward a bit. The cross into Mikel Antonio is really good as well. He's offside, so it doesn't really matter, but it's good. We have such a huge summer coming up. There's going to be a lot of change. We've got a lot of people leaving on freeze. We've got people who we need to upgrade and replace on. I doubt either Paqueta or Skamaka will leave. I don't think they have much choice in that matter. Listen, if there's a big enough offer on the table, then sure, I think potentially they will go. But Pereira, good save, Fabianski. Jesus Christ, I was getting flashbacks to Joe Linton there. I was getting flashbacks to Pereira, to Joe Linton. Pereira went flying through on Fabianski. Looked like he'd taken it round him. Great pass through the middle. He takes it round in one touch of Fabianski. Huge save. Just hand comes flying out. Just fingertips enough to just stop Pereira from being able to take it round him. There was someone covering just behind Fabianski, but you cannot rely on that. Great save from Lucas Fabianski. Jesus Christ. Jesus. All in my head again, once more, I had Joe Linton just happening. Just happening. Flipping heck. Anyway. Back to 6 more minutes. Do you think Ollie Skulls make it to the first team? Yes. He's one of the ones I've got hope for. I was really impressed by him when he played. Him and he's the big one. He's the big one, I should say. He's the one. If out of everyone, I think he's the one who's got the most chance, in my opinion. I think it's right time, right position, right guy. He looks good. I think out of everyone, he's the one who I've got like a good. I think he's got a good opportunity to. It's going to be a throw into Fulham on the left-hand side. Also, Woody, I saw your question. I can't find it now about Hamalytics. I will be doing Hamalytics with Jack Elderton of analyticsunited.co.uk. We're recording Monday, I think. I have to message him and figure that out. Double substitution for Fulham coming in. But that is only on patreon.com/Hammers Chat. Lovely stats, analytics, tactics-based show that we talk about. Willian and Pereira coming off for Wilson and James. They're certainly throwing everything at it for them. Us, no movement as of yet. But yeah, lovely. One of my favorite things to do, actually. I'll be honest with you. Probably that and the watch-alongs are my 2 favorite things I do. And that'll be on Patreon. I think it'll be going live on. I think it'll go up on the Patreon on Monday, I believe. But I have to message Jack. I haven't spoken to him yet, and I'll figure it out. And then we'll be doing a Q&A probably in a couple of weeks. Doing a Q&A version in a couple of weeks. Long throw in, headed away. Declan Rice is going to be a corner to Fulham. 5 more minutes to go. 5 more minutes of me being proved correct. That was no need to worry. I'm being very bold and brash about this. I really shouldn't be. Because all it takes is them to score to not only put egg on my face, but also to piss us all off. Oh, header straight in the hands of Fabianski. We'll say that. Really shouldn't be this bold. Really shouldn't be this brash about it either. Tossing gets a bit of space. Does well, to be fair. He does well to battle with Mikel Antonio and then get up ahead of Zuma, but can't angle it more. I know. I'm sorry. I should stop. Yeah, that's my opinion. Just. I don't think either team do. They've not really created anything, and we definitely haven't. So, you know. I always say try not to fight each other. Even if you think someone is trolling, try not to fight each other. No, man. There we go. We had a throw, ladies and gentlemen. Guess where it is? It's a goal kick. Goal kick to Fulham. Pointless behaviour. Oh, I'm hearing the word cornet from the commentator. I'm hearing the word cornet, ladies and gentlemen. It's very exciting times. We might be about to see Maxwell Cornet. Could it be 2? Could it be 2? Laid out wide, good interception from Sufal there. Tries to come charging forwards. Can't quite make it happen. Robinson, that's a really nice piece of control. I could see Cornet. Here he comes. It's Maxwell Cornet to get maybe max 2 touches of the ball in the last 2.5 minutes of this game. Yes! Wonder where he's going to come on for. Yeah, it's not great, is it, the Real Simpson? It's not great. Yeah, I love a cheese pun. Yeah, welcome, bro. Welcome. You're a virgin, because if so, welcome, bro. Oh, Ben Rama could come away with the ball there. It's a nice ball into his path. He slows down, plays it back to Bowen. What a waste. What a bloody waste. Nah. What a bloody waste. I know you're at work. I saw the videos. I mean, is your work on Virgin? Your work could be on Virgin Internet. I don't know these things. Do businesses have special internet providers? Is that a thing? Cornet's still not on. He's going to get a big 60 seconds of football, ladies and gentlemen, to warm up. It was a great ball all of a sudden to Ben Rama, who comes flying forward. He has to slow down because he just doesn't have any options and space to beat his man. Lays it short to Bowen, who has the time and space. BC Internet, all right, fair enough. Has the time and space. He could have taken a touch. He could have done anything else. He hits it first time to hook it in. That is what it is. Mikel Antonio coming off, unsurprisingly, for Maxwell Cornet. We can sort this out. Do you want to come on Spanners this week? I haven't sorted a guest for this week yet. Ray, if you can hear me, what days are you free? And Woody, when Ray says what days you're free, let me know if you're free. We can sort it out. We'll figure it out. I haven't sorted out a guest yet, so you'd be more than welcome on, friend. You'd be more than welcome on, bro. So Cornet comes on with 10 minutes of the 10 seconds of the 90 to go. Free kick goes to Rice, who runs it into the corner. There you go. Tuesday onwards. What are we saying about... When's the next match? Where's the next match? 4 minutes of added time to go for West Ham United. 4 minutes of added time. We're saying about Wednesday. Woody, what's Wednesday saying for you? Let's say Wednesday after work for you, Woody, I suspect. What time would you be able to do Wednesday? Let's sort this out live on air. Patreon.com/HammersChat if you would like to come on the show that we're discussing right now. And Ray, can you do Wednesday at whatever time Woody says? It's gonna be a throw in on the left-hand side, just under a minute gone of stoppage time. 4 to go. Benrahma battling in the corner. Tete pulls him down. It's gonna be a goal kick. Big boot forward from Fulham, looking their way in. Poor header from Zuma, just gets a bit over the top. Play that one. Nah, not back up. There's a couple of people who are who I class as regulars. Yourself, Woody, Michael Levy Jr., another great regular who comes on the show, for example. Wally's been on quite a few times. Wally I would class as a regular, and when there isn't someone about, I think these are people who I know are good. So I go to you. Wednesday is good, but only 7:30 onwards. Right? Could you do 8? Ray, could you do 8 p.m.? Is that all right? What are we saying about 8? Might as well do it live. Why not? Cross goes over the top of everyone. 2 more minutes to go. Played in, can't quite make it work. Hooked away. Throw quickly from Fulham, looking their way forward. Make sure to stick around, because remember, there will be a full-time live match review straight after this with Geo and Gonzo. They will be live. And then on top of that, hey, subscribe. Oh, Maxwell Cornet is through. This could be 2. It's a beautiful opportunity. Maxwell Cornet, we have had the opportunities to win this game. Maxwell Cornet 1v1. It was a beautiful, beautiful opportunity. And it's straight at Leno with 1 more minute to go. It looks like it's going to... It looks like I was correct all along. We've had 3 golden opportunities. Well, we've had 2 good opportunities and one unreal one to take this game and go forward with it and really get a win. And it's just not happened for us. Maxwell Cornet straight at Leno. We came flying forward from the counter-attack, just a massive boot upfield. Ream just awful defending straight into the path of Cornet. Benrahma's there. He only has his eyes for goal and he just can't bend it around Leno. Oh, it should be 2. It should be 2. That's annoying. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be live at realistically, probably about 8:15 on the Patreon on Wednesday. Patreon.com/HammerChat for 2 spanners, 1 hammer. Now that's organized. Thank you. I'll message you both after this. I appreciate it. Cornet, 1 more time. Again, pulls it back across. Benrahma that time can't angle it, and it is good shit house from Benrahma there. Game is going to finish soon. Lots of whistles coming in. There is the full-time whistle. Charlie Walsh was correct. 1-0 West Ham. An awful game, if we're being honest, for West Ham. Utterly atrocious, but who cares? It ends West Ham United 1, Fulham 0. Did he just say our first away win since August? Is that something I heard? Jesus. A big 23% possession. An own goal is the thing that gets us there, but still, what can you do? Ladies and gentlemen, we get the win. I hope you are. If you haven't already subscribed to Glenn Kiteley, it's Glenn Kiteley, everything Arsenal. My God, can't speak, but Glenn's an absolute legend and he does big bits. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. There you have it. It ends 1-0. Who would have thunk, apart from me, clearly. We will be live with our match review in just a few moments. So just before then, I should thank Woody, Callum, Leon, Dave, and Stephen for the super chats. Thank you very much for the money into the full-time fund. It helps us out massively, as does liking the video. It's a huge thing. It seems stupid and pointless, but trust me, it really, really does help in the back end, as does subscribing and hitting that bell notification button so you don't miss out on any future videos, because Jesus Christ, there's a lot of football coming up and we're sort of going non-stop, and there's videos non-stop, so you're not going to want to miss out on any of those future videos. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. We massively appreciate it. We will be back for the Europa Conference League next game against Ghent on Thursday. But until then, make sure to stick around because the review will be live in just a few moments' time on this very channel. Thank you very much for watching. West Ham United 0, Fulham. West Ham United 1, Fulham 0. What a time to be alive. Come on, the boys. Speak to you later, everyone. Bye.